Chapter 1291. 1291 The Trial of Chaos, Intent and Slaughter. The earth, wind, fire, thunder, and water essences are indeed 5 different essences, and they are all combined. You barely qualify for the test. However, whether you can get the chaos scripture and successfully cultivate it will still require a series of tests. Earth 1 looked at the 5 intents surrounding Lu Ming and nodded slightly. There was a glimmer of hope in the depths of his eyes. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. He was amazed by the insane conditions for cultivating the chaos scripture. First of all, he had to comprehend the concepts of 5 completely different attributes. For example, Lu Ming's earth, wind, fire, thunder, and water concepts were 5 completely different concepts. If Lu Ming cultivated the earth concept and the other one was the mountain concept or the earth concept, it would not work. This was because the mountain concept, earth concept, and earth concept had the same attributes. Or, it would be impossible even if one cultivated the water concept, ice concept, swamp concept, and so on, because the fundamental attributes were the same. Only the intent of 5 completely different elements had been cultivated to the full circle of level 4. This condition was hard to find even 1 in a billion geniuses. Furthermore, he had to successfully merge all 5 intents. This was even more difficult and harsh. If not for Lu Ming's 9 dragon bloodline, he would not have been able to achieve it. Lu Ming could not imagine who else in the world could meet such a requirement other than him. And this was only the preliminary requirements of the test. If he wanted to cultivate, he still needed to go through the test. Well, that's all I have to say. Now take the test. Go through that passage and keep going. If you can walk to the end, you will get the chaos scripture and cultivate the chaos will. If you fail halfway, you will be teleported out, and I will send you back. Also, in this place, time is accelerated many times. Even if you stay here for a few years, only a moment will pass in the outside world. So, you can rest assured and accept the test. Earth 1 said. A few years here is only a short while in the outside world. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he was overjoyed. What he was worried about was that if he stayed here for too long, there would be changes in the outside world, like Dandan and Bubbles, or the situation in the divine wilderness. But now, Lu Ming did not need to worry. A few years here was only a short while in the outside world. What was there to worry about? At the same time, he marveled at Hunyuan Sect's strength. Hunyuan Sect. What kind of power was that? It was truly unfathomable and unimaginably powerful. I must get the chaos scripture. With his worries gone, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. He clenched his fists. If he could successfully cultivate the legendary chaos will, his combat power would increase by a terrifying amount. It would become his most powerful trump card. More importantly, the help it would bring in the future would be unimaginable. Lu Ming's gaze slowly became determined. Senior Earth 1, this junior will be going. Lu Ming cupped his fists at 2E and stepped forward, walking towards the passage. His figure slowly disappeared into the passage. How many years has it been? I've finally waited for someone. This time, I must succeed. Looking at Lu Ming's disappearing back, 2Yi's eyes were filled with hope and anticipation. He had already waited for countless years. Over the long years, there were also outstanding heaven's favorites who met the requirements and were brought here. Unfortunately, no one had been able to make it to the end, pass all the tests, and cultivate the chaos will. Therefore, he could only wait. Every time someone came, it was a ray of hope. He was filled with anticipation and hoped that someone would succeed in cultivating it. Earth 1 stood quietly in the hall and waited. Lu Ming stepped into the passage. At first, everything was calm. However, after walking for a while, the surrounding environment suddenly changed. Kill, kill, kill. All of a sudden, roars filled with killing intent were heard. Endless killing intent suddenly enveloped Lu Ming's entire body. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes turned red. It was as if countless wild beasts had been triggered in his heart. Lu Ming's heart was filled with endless murderous intent. This kind of killing intent was too cold and too strong. An ordinary person would turn into an idiot if they were struck by this kind of killing intent. However, Lu Ming's eyes only flickered for a moment at the beginning. He immediately calmed down. It's another test of killing intent. However, it's far inferior to the endless killing intent of the third bloodline. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. His gaze became calmer and calmer, not affected by his killing intent. In fact, Lu Ming also understood why there was a test of killing intent. This was because in a warrior's life, if he wanted to reach the peak, he had to kill his way out from mountains of corpses and seas of blood. This path was destined to be a bloody one, a path filled with killing intent. Those who were not determined would be influenced by the killing intent. Therefore, some of the more powerful inheritances would set up a test to test the killing intent. Unfortunately, Lu Ming's third bloodline had endless killing intent. These tests were child's play compared to the third bloodline. Lu Ming remained unmoved despite the killing intent enveloping him. His eyes were calm as he walked forward step by step, determined. Suddenly, the surrounding environment changed again. The endless killing intent disappeared without a trace. Squeak! A melodious chirping of birds rang in Lu Ming's ears. It was crisp and pleasant. A gentle breeze blew, bringing with it waves of fragrant flowers that refreshed one's mind. It was completely different from the endless killing intent just now. Lu Ming could not help but calm down. Lu Ming looked up and realized that he was outside a small mountain village. In front of them was a small mountain village. The small village was surrounded by green grass and colorful flowers. Birds were flying and chirping, making the village look like a paradise. Ding-ling-ling! A melodious voice rang out. It was a 6 or 7-year-old girl. She was very pink and had a red face. She was very cute. There was a string of bells on her wrists and ankles. When she walked, they made melodious sounds. The little girl jogged to Lu Ming's side and looked at him curiously. She whispered, "Big brother, are you an outsider? Are you lost? Come to my house, Ling Ling will treat you to milk tea." With that, the little girl pulled Lu Ming's big hand and walked towards the village. She was so innocent and cute that Lu Ming could not bear to reject her. "Hello, young man." An honest-looking man was carrying a bunch of firewood. When he saw Lu Ming, he smiled and greeted him. Even though Lu Ming knew that this was an illusion, he could not help but be influenced by this simplicity. A smile appeared on his face and he nodded at the burly man. "Mother, this big brother is lost. I brought him here as a guest to treat him to milk tea." The little girl pulled Lu Ming and walked into the village. They came to a wooden house. In front of the wooden house, there was a young woman in her 30s. When she saw Lu Ming, she flashed a clean smile and patted the little girl's head lovingly. "Since you're Ling Ling's friend, you're also Mother's friend. Wait here, I'll go get the milk tea." The young woman walked into the house and quickly took out a tea brick to make tea for Lu Ming. Very soon, the strong fragrance of milk tea wafted in front of the wooden house. Chapter 1292. 1292 Lu Ming's Killing Path. "Ling Ling, you have a friend now. Can you buy me a drink too?" A white-haired old man walked over and smiled. "Fifth Grandpa, of course you can," the little girl said with a smile. The small mountain village was very simple. No one was scheming and their smiles were clean. Lu Ming could not help but be infected. He picked up the milk tea and took a sip. It was very sweet. "Big brother, is it good?" The little girl blinked her big eyes and asked. "It's good." Lu Ming smiled. "Thank you, big brother." The little girl revealed a happy smile and jumped around. The bells on her wrists and ankles rang with a pleasant sound. The people in the small mountain village were all very simple. Lu Ming's arrival attracted many people to watch. However, most of them were very simple and honest. They smiled at Lu Ming, and their smiles revealed their sincerity. "I wonder what this illusionary realm will test." Lu Ming sipped his milk tea and a thought flashed across his mind. Suddenly, there was a slight sound of the air being cut. It was very light, like a child holding a sharp blade and stabbing it at Lu Ming. The sound was very light. However, with Lu Ming's cultivation level, he could still hear it clearly. It was Lingling, the little girl. A dagger appeared in her hand and she stabbed it at Lu Ming's stomach. At this moment, the little girl was not naive at all. Her face was filled with ferocity. "Kill!" The little girl shouted and stabbed the dagger straight at Lu Ming. Lu Ming retreated slightly and dodged the little girl's attack. "Kill!" A cold shout came from behind. The little girl's mother, the kind young woman, was also holding a sword and stabbing at Lu Ming with a ferocious expression. Following that, the old man on the right, the little girl's fifth grandpa, who was simple and honest earlier, also took out a knife and slashed at Lu Ming. Their strength was very small and weak, just like an ordinary villager. However, each of them seemed to have a deep hatred for Lu Ming and wanted to kill him. Lu Ming retreated casually and dodged all the attacks. However, they did not give up and charged at Lu Ming. "Kill!" Other than the little girl and the rest, the other villagers also took out their weapons and charged at Lu Ming. "What are you guys doing?" Lu Ming shouted. However, no one said a word. They charged at Lu Ming with bloodshot eyes. When Lu Ming retreated, they continued to charge at him. All around the small mountain village, the originally simple and honest villagers rushed towards Lu Ming as if they had gone mad. They wanted to kill Lu Ming, and all kinds of weapons were thrust and slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming dodged the attack. He wanted to soar into the sky and leave this place, but he realized that he could not. He was blocked by a force. "Kill!" More and more villagers charged at Lu Ming with bloodshot eyes. Ding ling ling. The little girl, Lingling, was at the forefront. She aimed a dagger at Lu Ming's stomach. Lu Ming dodged continuously, but the number of villagers increased and they surrounded him in all directions. Lu Ming's gaze turned colder and colder. "I don't kill innocent people, but if you want to kill me, then I'm not innocent. Since we're enemies, then I'll kill you. Kill!" As soon as Lu Ming uttered the word "kill," a cold killing intent burst out from his body. A long spear appeared in his hands. With a flash of the long spear, the sky was filled with spear shadows. The spear was thrust out, and the first to bear the brunt was the little girl. The spear ray pierced through the space between her eyebrows, nailing her to the ground. After that, it was the young woman and the simple-minded fifth grandfather. An originally kind and simple person had been assassinated by Lu Ming. At first, Lu Ming's heart trembled. However, his gaze was soon replaced by a cold look. On the path of martial arts, since he had to kill, he would kill them thoroughly. "Kill! Kill!" The spear ray howled. How could these villagers resist it? They were killed one by one. Corpses covered the mountain village and blood dyed the paradise red. Lu Ming strode forward and walked out of the mountain village. There were still villagers charging at Lu Ming from all directions. In the end, they all turned into corpses. Very soon, Lu Ming stepped out of the village and saw a town that was even bigger than the previous village. Many people saw Lu Ming and shouted with red eyes, "Murderer! He's killing the innocent! Kill him!" In the town, more and more people were charging toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not have a choice. He could only kill his way out. Blood qi filled the air, and millions of corpses lay on the ground. Wherever Lu Ming went, everyone who saw him would want to kill him. Lu Ming had no choice but to kill them. Slowly, Lu Ming's eyes turned red. He exuded a cold killing intent and his gaze became colder and colder. Outside, in the great hall, Earth One was staring at a round ball in front of him. The image on the ball was the one where Lu Ming was. Suddenly, a ripple appeared in the space, and a golden figure appeared beside Earth One. "Gold One." Earth One nodded. "How is it? You can't even pass the first stage, right?" Gold One said, "I don't know. The first stage is very difficult. A martial arts expert can't be soft-hearted. If he meets an enemy, he must kill them no matter what. This is necessary. If he's soft-hearted, he'll only die in the hands of the enemy. However, in the endless slaughter, in the mountains of corpses and seas of blood, you have to stay clear-headed and keep your heart unchanged. Some people's hearts will slowly change in the endless slaughter and eventually turn into killing machines. But that's useless. Dao Tuyi's brows furrowed slightly. That's right. Humans are easily lost, Gold One said. Suddenly, the space moved again, and a few more figures appeared. They were puppets like 2E, but their colors were different. They were Lightning One, Wood One, Water One, and so on. The moment these figures appeared, they all stared at the round ball without blinking. It's been so many years. I hope this kid can pass. Gold One sighed. Everyone looked on silently. Lu Ming's massacre continued. His eyes were getting redder and redder, and the killing intent on his body was getting stronger and stronger. Kill everything. There was a voice in his mind that kept roaring, as if it wanted to drown Lu Ming in endless slaughter. This kind of killing intent, was born in Lu Ming's heart, not from the outside world. Even the third bloodline could not help Lu Ming. Suppress. Suddenly, a loud voice rang in Lu Ming's mind. It was the voice from the bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel. Lu Ming shivered and his mind regained a trace of clarity. That's not right. I, Lu Ming, have only killed my enemies and not the innocent. No matter how many enemies I kill, they are still my enemies and have nothing to do with others. Even if I have to kill, I'll kill those who deserve to be killed. Lu Ming's mind whirred and his eyes slowly regained clarity. In the end, he simply sat down cross-legged and his mind entered a state of emptiness. In the outside world, the attacks landed on Lu Ming's body and dissipated one after another, unable to hurt him at all. Chapter 1293. 1293 Martial Technique of Creation, Earth Origin Technique. After a few hours, Lu Ming opened his eyes. At this time, his eyes had regained their clarity. The killing intent in his eyes had completely disappeared. There was only calmness and peace. The people around him were still attacking Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a step forward and his essential core burst forth, condensing into an endless spear light. He pierced through the people and killed them all. However, this time, Lu Ming's heart did not waver at all. On this path filled with killing, he would no longer be controlled by killing and become a killing machine. In the hall, Earth One, Gold One, and the others smiled when they saw this. He passed the first test. Earth One said with a smile. Although I passed the first stage, the later stages are even more difficult. Gold One sighed. Don't rush, take it one step at a time, Earth One said. The others nodded and continued to watch. This time, Lu Ming did not stop. Endless spear radiance burst forth from his body. He traveled dozens of miles with each step. With every step he took, everything that stood in his way was turned into ashes. After an unknown period of time, the surrounding environment changed again. Lu Ming was back in the passageway. Congratulations on passing the first stage. A voice rang in Lu Ming's mind. After that, there was no more sound. This is only the first stage? It's really difficult. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. After entering this passage, there would be endless killing intent that would suddenly descend on them. Then, they would enter the illusion and lose themselves in the killing. Initially, Lu Ming thought that this was already the second stage. He did not expect that it was only the first stage. The first stage was already so difficult. Who knew what they would face in the future? Lu Ming's eyes were filled with confidence and fighting spirit. He strode forward. The passage was very long and seemed to have no end. Lu Ming walked for half an hour and the passage in front suddenly became wide, like a stone room. The stone room was filled with dense and mysterious carvings. One could faintly feel the aura of the earth. In front of the stone room, there was a yellow light curtain blocking the way. On the walls, there is the Earth Essence Martial Technique, the Earth Aeon Technique. Only those who have successfully cultivated the Earth Aeon Technique can break through the light curtain. You can only pass the stage if you have successfully comprehended the Earth Aeon Technique on the walls. You only have half a year. The voice from before rang in Lu Ming's mind again. Martial skill of Earth Essence, Earth Origin Technique? To successfully cultivate it in half a year? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The assessment this time was a martial arts technique of the creation of the earth. Furthermore, it would take half a year. Lu Ming was absolutely confident. Immediately, Lu Ming's gaze fell on the carvings on the wall and he began to comprehend them in detail. In Lu Ming's eyes, the carvings seemed to come to life. They were like tiny snakes slithering on the wall, turning into wonderful martial arts techniques. Earth Concept Martial Technique. How wonderful! As soon as he looked at it, Lu Ming felt that this martial arts technique of creation was extremely wonderful and mysterious. It seemed to contain the truth of heaven and earth. Lu Ming had previously cultivated the martial arts technique, Thunder God Strike, with the concept of thunder. The difficulty of cultivating the Thunder God Strike was already astonishingly high. It was 100 times more difficult than ordinary martial arts techniques. However, the difficulty level of the Earth Aeon technique was much higher than that of the Thunder God Strike. Lu Ming stood there and observed it carefully for 3 days, but he still could not find any clues. It was no wonder that he would be able to pass the test as long as he succeeded in cultivating it within half a year. The difficulty of cultivation was simply too great. In the hall, Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others watched quietly. I wonder if this kid can successfully comprehend it within half a year. Someone said. If you really need half a year to successfully comprehend it, then there's no hope for the later stages. Gold One said. That's right. Based on past experience, the shorter the time used, the greater the chances of success. Some people only manage to comprehend it in half a year, or even 5 months. This shows that their potential is limited, and they will definitely fail in the later stages. Earth One sighed. The shorter the time he took to pass this checkpoint, the greater the hope he would have in the future. In the past, the person who used the shortest time was 3 months and 15 days, but he still didn't reach the end. In my opinion, only if he successfully comprehended it within 3 months will he have the hope of passing the test. Gold One said. Everyone fell silent, and the atmosphere seemed a little heavy. It was already quite good to be able to comprehend it in half a year. To comprehend it in 3 months was simply too difficult. In the stone room, Lu Ming was still motionless, carefully sensing the carvings around him. In Lu Ming's eyes, those marks seemed to have turned into tiny people who were practicing the martial arts technique of the creation of the earth and the Earth Aeon technique. The core of the martial technique of conception is the conception. The potential and power of the conception can be fully exerted. The power can be exerted by 10 times or even 100 times. Therefore, to practice the martial technique of conception, one must start from the conception. Slowly, Lu Ming closed his eyes. The tiny figures formed by the marks disappeared, leaving only the will of the earth in Lu Ming's heart. Slowly, the earth essence realm and the marks began to overlap. In this place, one could not use the path understanding ancient tree to comprehend. One could only rely on oneself. Time passed by quickly. 5 days, 10 days, a month. After a month and a half, Lu Ming suddenly moved. He took a step forward and the ground let out a dull roar. At the same time, he threw a punch. This punch was as heavy as a mountain and as powerful as a thunderbolt. It seemed to suppress everything and had a feeling of the prison suppressing heavenly art. Yes, this is the feeling. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He kept swinging his fists and the void rumbled and exploded. In the main hall, Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others' eyes lit up. That's fast. It's only been half a month, and he's already grasped the technique. Amazing. It's too amazing. Although he has only touched the door, it has only been 1.5 months. He really has a chance to succeed in the training in 3 months. There's hope. Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others exclaimed excitedly, their eyes revealing a strong sense of hope. They had waited for too long and did not want to wait any longer. In the stone room, Lu Ming was practicing non-stop, seemingly without stopping. Time continued to pass. The power of Lu Ming's punches grew stronger and stronger, and the world trembled with his punches. 2.5 months had passed. Boom! Lu Ming threw a punch and the earth concept burst forth with the fist force. It was extremely powerful. The earth element technique. This was the earth element technique. Lu Ming had successfully cultivated it. Although they were both artistic conception martial skills, the earth aeon skill was obviously at a higher level than the Thunder God Strike, and it was more powerful as well. Although it was only at the first level, its power was equivalent to the second level of the Thunder God Strike. 2.5 months. I don't know what level he's at. Let's get through this first. Lu Ming mumbled to himself. He then stepped forward and came before the khaki-colored light screen. He threw a punch. Gotcha! The khaki-colored light screen shattered like glass, turning into light spots and dissipating. Lu Ming walked over and continued forward. Behind the light screen, there was still a passage, but not long after, Lu Ming came to another stone room. Chapter 1294. 1294 Battle between martial techniques and concepts. It was almost exactly the same as the previous stone room. The walls of the stone chamber were filled with carvings. The difference was that these carvings were filled with the aura of the concept of fire. In front of him, there was also a fiery red light screen blocking his way. The martial arts technique of the creation of fire, the fire elemental technique, is on the walls. Only by successfully cultivating the fire elemental technique within half a year can you break through the light curtain and enter the next level. That voice rang in Lu Ming's mind again. This time, it's the martial arts technique of the creation of fire, the fire elemental technique. Could it be that it is based on the intent realm I have comprehended? I have comprehended 5 types of intent realm, so do I have to practice 5 types of intent realm martial arts techniques? Lu Ming could not help but guess in his heart. He looked at the light screen, then walked over, activated the Earth Aeon technique, and punched it. After the violent fist force hit the light curtain, it did not move at all, not even a ripple could be seen. Then, Lu Ming switched to the Thunder God Strike, the prison-suppressing heavenly technique, the 9 dragons heaven-stomping steps, and so on. However, they were all useless. There was not a single ripple on the light screen. As expected, it was useless to try to be opportunistic. He still needed to master the fire elemental technique successfully before he could pass the test. Lu Ming did not think too much about it. He started to look at the engravings and started to understand the fire elemental technique. With his previous experience, Lu Ming got into the zone very quickly. The fire elemental technique was also more powerful than the Thunder God Strike, but the difficulty of cultivating it was also terrifying. Lu Ming carefully comprehended. Time passed. 2 months and 12 days later, Lu Ming's entire body was bathed in flames, like a god of fire. With a casual strike, the power of the concept of fire exploded to the extreme, unleashing a terrifying power. He had successfully cultivated the fire elemental technique. I've succeeded. I've successfully cultivated it again. Haha. It's still within 3 months. This time, it only took 2 months and 12 days. I've saved 3 days compared to the Earth Aeon technique. There's hope. There's hope this time. This Lu Ming's comprehension is too strong. There's really hope this time. In the hall, Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others cheered in excitement. In the past, the fastest person to successfully cultivate a martial technique of creation took 3.5 months. However, Lu Ming only took 2.5 months for the first technique and 3 days for the second technique. He had surpassed everyone else in the past. The shorter the time, the greater the potential. Only then would he have a chance to pass the final trial. Boom! Lu Ming pointed his finger and cast the fire elemental technique. The concept of fire gathered at the tip of his finger and touched the fiery red light screen. The light screen shattered and disappeared. Lu Ming smiled and continued to walk forward. As Lu Ming had expected, they arrived at another stone room after a short walk. There were also carvings on the walls of the stone room, and at the end of the stone room, there was also a light screen. This time, he needed to comprehend the martial technique of wind concept, the wind origin technique. Lu Ming did not want to waste any time. He immediately entered the state and began to comprehend. This time, Lu Ming had used 2 days less. He only used 2 months and 10 days to successfully comprehend the wind element technique and passed this stage. Not long after, they arrived at the next stage. This time, it was the water elemental technique, a martial technique of the creation of water. This time, the time was shortened by 2 days. He only used 2 months and 8 days to successfully cultivate and pass this stage. Then it was time for the 5th stage. He needed to cultivate the martial technique, thunder origin technique, of the creation of thunder. Compared to Lu Ming, the thunder origin spell was much easier. This was because Lu Ming had cultivated the Thunder God strike before and had more experience in cultivating martial arts techniques with the concept of thunder. Hence, it was easier for him to cultivate it. In the end, Lu Ming only used a total of 2 months to successfully cultivate the lightning elemental technique and passed this stage. Congratulations, you've passed the 2nd stage. When Lu Ming passed through the 5th light screen, a voice rang in his mind. From start to finish, Lu Ming used less than a year to pass the 2nd stage and cultivate 5 powerful martial arts techniques of creation. I've really made a profit. Even if I don't get the chaos scripture this time, I've still made a profit. Lu Ming's eyes were glowing. These 5 martial techniques of intent were priceless in the outside world. They were not comparable to techniques of intent like Thunder God Strike. Each of them was the best among the martial techniques of intent. If Lu Ming could cultivate the 5 types of martial arts techniques to the highest level, his combat strength would increase dramatically. Let's continue. I must get the chaos scripture. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. It was just a test, but he could obtain 5 such wonderful martial arts techniques of creation. The chaos scripture must be extremely amazing. Lu Ming's heart was burning with passion. He continued to walk forward. Not long after, the light in front of him brightened up and Lu Ming came to a fighting ring. The fighting stage was huge, with a length and width of more than 100 miles. The battle platform, could it be a test of combat prowess? Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. Buzz, buzz, whoosh. When Lu Ming stepped onto the fighting ring, 5 figures suddenly condensed in front of him. The 5 figures were all tall and burly men, but their skin colors were different. Some were yellow, some were green, some were blue, and some were red. It was similar to Earth One whom Lu Ming had seen before. It seemed to be a puppet. In the last round, use the Earth Origin Technique, Thunder Origin Technique, Fire Origin Technique, Water Origin Technique, and Wind Origin Technique to defeat the 5 puppets. Any other martial techniques will be ineffective. The time limit is 2 years. A voice rang in Lu Ming's mind. For the last trial, he only had to defeat these 5 puppets within 2 years. Lu Ming just had a thought. Buzz! One of the 5 figures pounced toward Lu Ming. This figure was khaki-colored and was using the Earth Origin Technique. It threw a punch at Lu Ming, and the essence of the earth filled the air. A powerful pressure was exerted on Lu Ming. The puppet's cultivation level was not weaker than Lu Ming's. With the addition of the Earth Aeon technique, it was terrifyingly powerful. Boom! The vital essence in Lu Ming's body exploded and the Earth concept spread. He cast the Earth Aeon technique and punched his opponent. When the 2 fists met, Lu Ming felt an earth-shattering force surging toward him. Lu Ming's body trembled and he could not help but retreat. Its mastery of the Earth Aeon technique is far above mine. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Bang! The khaki-colored puppet stepped onto the fighting stage and charged toward Lu Ming. Its fist force was as heavy as a mountain and as heavy as the earth. Undefeatable! Lu Ming had a thought. In a situation where they had the same strength, Lu Ming's mastery of the Earth Aeon technique was not as good as his opponent's. He was not his opponent's match at all. As for other martial skills, they would be ineffective. Roar! A dragon's roar came from within Lu Ming's body as the 9 streams of dragon energy exploded. The dragon power burst forth, and Lu Ming's strength increased dramatically. He cast the Earth Aeon technique and threw a punch. However, the next moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. This was because the khaki-colored puppet's strength had also increased rapidly. It was not any weaker than Lu Ming's dragon power. In addition to the more powerful Earth Aeon technique, the other party's strength still overwhelmed Lu Ming. Chapter 1295. 1295 Fusion of Martial Techniques and Concepts. Bang! The two fists collided and Lu Ming was still forced to retreat. Bloodline. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His third bloodline emerged and a surge of energy surged into his body, increasing his strength once again. However, as Lu Ming's strength increased, the khaki-colored puppet's strength would increase as well. Following that, Lu Ming cast the prison-suppressing heavenly art to increase its power. Correspondingly, the other party's strength also increased rapidly. It was useless. No matter how Lu Ming increased his strength, the other party would also increase his strength. It's indeed useless. In the end, we must use martial techniques of creation. Lu Ming sighed and put away his bloodline and dragon power. As expected, the other party's strength had weakened as well. His basic strength was still at the same level as Lu Ming's. Then I'll fight with martial arts techniques of creation. Lu Ming only used his essential core and cast the Earth Aeon technique to fight the other party. Unfortunately, his opponent's martial arts technique of creation was more powerful than Lu Ming's. Lu Ming tried his best to resist, but he was still no match for his opponent. In less than 10 moves, he was blasted off the fighting ring. The moment Lu Ming got off the fighting ring, the other party stopped attacking. This trial seems to be very difficult. Only one khaki-colored puppet has made a move. There are still 4 other puppets who haven't made a move. I wonder if the other 5 puppets will join forces. If they join forces, the difficulty will be even more terrifying. No wonder it took 2 years. Lu Ming was thinking quickly. It seems that I can only pass this stage by quickly improving the level of my martial arts techniques. Then, let's continue the battle. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. He took a step forward and returned to the fighting ring. The martial arts technique of creation that the other party used was exactly the same as his. The continuous battle would be of great help to Lu Ming's understanding of the martial arts technique of creation. Buzz! This time, it wasn't the khaki-colored puppet that attacked. Instead, it was a fiery red puppet that attacked. It used the fire elemental technique and was filled with an explosive attack. Lu Ming also cast the fire elemental technique to fight it. The other party's fire elemental technique was obviously more powerful than Lu Ming's. Even if Lu Ming tried his best, it would be difficult for him to resist. How exquisite! So the fire elemental technique can be used in this way. As he fought, Lu Ming sensed the fire elemental technique cast by the other party. At the same time, it matched with his own cultivation and increased his understanding of the fire elemental technique. After more than 10 moves, Lu Ming was struck down from the fighting ring. However, Lu Ming was not discouraged. He went up to the fighting ring. This time, it was a green puppet that attacked. The opponent used the wind elemental technique. Just like that, once Lu Ming was knocked off the fighting ring, he would immediately go up and fight with his opponent. As he fought, he comprehended martial arts techniques of creation, making rapid progress. Every time, he would only stop devouring the rough stones to replenish his essential core when Lu Ming's essential core was exhausted. Cultivation knew no time, and time flew by quickly. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. In the past half a year, apart from recovering his essential core, Lu Ming had been fighting the 5 puppets. His understanding of the 5 martial arts techniques of creation had improved by leaps and bounds. Lu Ming had made major breakthroughs in all 5 types of martial arts techniques. He had entered the 3rd stage and his power had increased greatly. Boom! Lu Ming used the Earth Aeon technique to fight the khaki-colored puppet. Lu Ming's fist force was powerful and heavy, and the Earth concept was integrated into it. Every punch seemed to be suppressing the opponent with the Earth. The power was extremely shocking. The 2 fists collided, and the khaki-colored puppet's body was sent flying far away, falling at the edge of the fighting ring. Get down! Lu Ming charged toward the khaki-colored puppet. Buzz! However, at that moment, a green figure flashed. The green puppet pounced at Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. With a wave of its hand, the wind element technique cut open the space and slashed at Lu Ming. At the same time, a blazing aura filled the air and a fiery red figure pounced at Lu Ming. Then it was the blue puppet and the purple puppet. The khaki-colored puppets rose as well. The 5 puppets pounced at Lu Ming. Indeed, as Lu Ming had guessed, the 5 puppets had joined forces. The combined might of the 5 puppets was shocking. Lu Ming was forced to retreat continuously. Most importantly, when Lu Ming cast one of the martial arts techniques of creation, he would be restrained by the corresponding puppet and would not be able to unleash his full power. Lu Ming could only constantly change the martial arts techniques of creation, casting 5 types of martial arts techniques in turns to block the opponent's attacks. However, it took time for the 5 intents to rotate. Even if it was only for a moment, it was still a flaw. Lu Ming was forced to retreat continuously and was thrown off the fighting ring after a few moves. The 5 puppets are too powerful and flawless when they join forces. I'm no match for them when I use only one martial technique of intent. If I can perfectly transform all 5 martial techniques of intent, there might be hope. Lu Ming pondered and then went up to the fighting ring. As soon as he stepped onto the fighting ring, the 5 puppets charged at Lu Ming. Lu Ming could only do his best to continuously switch between the 5 martial arts techniques of creation and fight the 5 puppets. In the beginning, Lu Ming was no match for him at all. This was because there would always be gaps in the transition between the 5 martial arts techniques of creation. It was not perfect and the opponent would seize the opportunity to defeat him. However, as time passed, Lu Ming became more and more skilled at switching between the 5 martial arts techniques of creation. A few months later, Lu Ming could easily switch between the 5 martial arts techniques of creation perfectly. He could cast any martial arts technique of creation with ease. He could even separate his left and right hands to cast different martial arts techniques of creation. At this point, Lu Ming had finally blocked the attacks of the 5 puppets. Fuse. However, at this moment, the khaki-colored puppet spoke indifferently. Then, the 5 puppets' figures changed and 5 martial arts techniques of intent were blasted out. They fused together and formed a chaotic color that blasted toward Lu Ming. The 5 martial arts techniques of creation were actually fused together, and their power increased crazily. With just one move, Lu Ming was sent flying out of the arena. "No way! You can play like this!" Lu Ming screamed in his heart. The difficulty of this trial was simply too high. The techniques of the 5 puppets were becoming more and more powerful, and now, they were actually able to fuse 5 martial techniques of intent together. Fusion? Right, fusion. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. Could this be the prerequisite for cultivating chaos will? Only by fusing 5 martial techniques of intent together would one be qualified to cultivate chaos intent. Lu Ming could not help but guess. These checkpoints were not only tests, but also tempering. Only those who could break through under such training could walk to the end and successfully cultivate the chaos will. The chaos will was the king of the will between heaven and earth. It was absolutely terrifying. However, it was not hard to imagine that the difficulty of cultivating it was absolutely terrifying. The conditions for cultivating it were also extremely harsh. Not everyone could successfully cultivate it. Only when certain conditions were met would one be able to successfully cultivate it. The tests along the way were probably to prepare for the cultivation of the chaos will. If he could not pass all the tests along the way, he would not be qualified to cultivate the chaos scripture, nor would he be able to successfully cultivate the chaos will. At the thought of this, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit again. "Come on. I don't believe that I can't fuse 5 martial techniques of creation." Lu Ming hollered and rushed up to the fighting ring to fight the 5 puppets. Chapter 1296. 1296 Success, Primal Chaos Emperor. In the main hall, Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others stared at the ball and observed it carefully. "He's at the last stage. I wonder if he can succeed." Gold 1 sighed. his eyes full of hope but also a little worry. The last stage is the key. In history, there have been people who have reached this stage, but they all failed at the last step. If they can't merge the 5 martial techniques of intent into one, it's impossible to successfully cultivate the chaos intent. Earth One said, "This kid's results are the best in history. I hope he can succeed." A fiery red figure spoke. "I hope so." The others sighed. On the fighting ring, Lu Ming had just gone up when he was blasted down. Again! Lu Ming was not discouraged at all. He rushed up to the fighting ring again. The 5 puppets attacked at the same time. They fused 5 wills and attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming's spiritual senses were constantly scanning how the 5 puppets had integrated the 5 martial arts techniques of the 5 concepts. He was also constantly analyzing in his mind. The power of the fusion of 5 martial arts techniques of intent was too strong. In less than 2 moves, Lu Ming was blasted out of the fighting ring and spat out a mouthful of blood. Again! Again! Lu Ming was not discouraged. He went up to the fighting ring and continued to fight, regardless of his injuries. Time passed day by day. In the beginning, Lu Ming could only block 1 or 2 moves. As time went on, the number of moves he could block increased and the time he could last grew longer. After another half a year, Lu Ming could already withstand more than 10 moves. At this point, there were still 9 months to go before the 2 years were up. However, Lu Ming had yet to comprehend the fusion of 5 martial arts techniques of creation. Each of the 5 martial techniques had its own system. Each of them was a profound exploration of their own martial techniques. They were all unique. It was too difficult to merge them into one. It seems that when I fused the 5 kinds of will before, I only had a superficial fusion. It was not a true and complete fusion. If it was a complete fusion, the 5 kinds of will would not be separated, but would become a new kind of will. After this period of time, Lu Ming also understood that his so-called fusion of the 5 concepts in the past was only a superficial fusion. He was still a long way from a complete fusion. The fusion of 5 martial techniques of intent realms still needs to start from the fusion of intent realm. Lu Ming was analyzing all kinds of possibilities in his mind. He then went up to the fighting ring to verify his thoughts. Boom, boom, boom. On the fighting ring, Lu Ming's 5-colored conception surrounded him and he instantly used 5 kinds of conception martial arts techniques: flame, thunder, and wind. It whistled through the fighting ring and blasted towards the 5 puppets. However, under the fusion of the 5 martial arts techniques of the 5 puppets, the powerful attack instantly fell apart. It was completely outmatched. It was like steel striking tofu. Continue. Lu Ming continuously struck out 5 types of martial arts techniques of creation, trying to merge them. Yes, this is the feeling. As long as we continue down this path, we will eventually succeed. Although he still failed, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He finally felt that he had found the right direction. As long as he found the right direction, he would eventually succeed. The great battle continued. Half a month later, Lu Ming threw out a series of punches. This time, only 4 martial arts techniques of intent were unleashed. It was not that he was short of one, but that Lu Ming had successfully fused 2 of them. I've finally succeeded in the first step. Lu Ming was overjoyed. After such a long time, he had finally taken the first step. If he fused 2, then fusing 3, 4, or even 5 would be a matter of time. Continue, continue. Lu Ming was excited and continued to fight. In the hall, Earth One, Gold One, and the others were so excited that they almost jumped up. He's succeeded. He's successfully fused 2. He's not far from success. Number 1 in history, number 1 in history. In the past, no one has ever been able to reach this stage. There's hope. The inheritance of venerable sovereigns, is there finally a successor? Gold One and the others laughed. They were extremely happy and excited. In the beginning, it would be relatively easy to merge the 2. However, it would become more and more difficult to merge the 3, 4, and 5 types. However, Lu Ming had found the right direction. He had a clear goal. He was improving at every moment and was approaching his goal. Time passed day by day, 1 month, 1 month. It was getting closer and closer to the 2 years. Lu Ming had also made a major breakthrough. He had successfully fused 3 types and then 4 types. When there was still a month left until the 2 years were up, Lu Ming had finally successfully fused 5 types of martial arts techniques of creation into 1 martial arts technique of creation. Boom! Primal chaos energy filled the air, and the terrifying power scattered the attacks of the 5 puppets, and the powerful energy continued to blast out. Bang! 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 The 5 puppets were sent flying by Lu Ming and fell outside the fighting ring. Although the 5 puppets had also fused 5 martial arts techniques of creation, they were, after all, separated by 5 people. Lu Ming was alone, so the fusion was purer and the power was greater. Naturally, the combat power he unleashed was stronger. Haha, he succeeded. Let's go and take a look. Earth 1, Gold 1, and the rest roared excitedly. Then their figures moved and they all disappeared from the hall. The next moment, the space on the battle stage where Lu Ming was at cracked open and Earth 1 and the rest stepped out. Senior Earth 1. Lu Ming was slightly stunned when he saw Earth 1. He then cupped his fists and saluted, looking at Gold 1 and the rest. Ah, Lu Ming, there's no need to be so polite. Congratulations on passing all the levels and gaining the right to cultivate the Chaos Scripture. Let me introduce you. This is Gold 1, Thunder 1. Earth 1 laughed heartily and was extremely excited. He introduced Gold 1 and the rest to Lu Ming. Lu Ming greets all the seniors. Although he knew that Gold 1 and the rest were puppets, Lu Ming still bowed respectfully. Hi, you're welcome. Once you've successfully cultivated the Chaos Scripture, you'll be the successor of the venerable sovereigns and our master. Gold 1 laughed so hard that he could not close his mouth. Venerable sovereign. Lu Ming was surprised. Lu Ming, let me make it clear to you. This is the Chaos Hall of the Primordial Chaos Sect. The Hall Master is the Chaos the Arch. The Chaos the Arch is one of the most powerful experts in the Primordial Chaos Sect. His combat strength is unparalleled and he dominates the world. He is the strongest expert in the world. As long as you successfully cultivate the Chaos Scripture, you'll be the successor of the Chaos the Arch. Naturally, you'll also be our master. 2E explained. The Primal Chaos Hall is part of the Primordial Chaos Sect. Senior, may I know if there's a space-time spiritual hall in the Primordial Chaos Sect? Lu Ming asked curiously. You know about the Time and Space Spiritual Hall? The Time and Space Spiritual Hall is one of the 9 halls of Hunyuan Sect. The Hall Master of the Time and Space Spiritual Hall is the Time and Space Spiritual Rat, one of the top 10 war beasts. It is also a top expert in the world, but it is still slightly inferior to the Chaos Supreme Emperor. Earth 1 explained. When he spoke of the Chaos the Arch, his face was filled with pride. The Chaos the Arch is so powerful. He's even stronger than the top 10 war beasts. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. He was looking forward to the Chaos Scripture even more. Chapter 1297. 1297 Chaos Concept, complete. Lu Ming, the Chaos Scripture is in there. You can go in. As long as you successfully cultivate the Chaos Scripture, you can leave this place. However, you've already successfully fused 5 martial arts techniques of intent. I believe that cultivating the Chaos Scripture shouldn't be too difficult. Tu Yidao pointed to a stone door behind the fighting ring. Many thanks to all the seniors. Lu Ming cupped his fists and walked towards the stone door. The stone door was closed. However, after Lu Ming walked in, the stone door opened automatically. Behind the stone door, it was misty and blurry. Lu Ming stepped in without hesitation. As soon as Lu Ming walked through the stone door, it closed on its own. Behind the stone door was a huge stone room. Above the stone room, there was a figure sitting cross-legged in the air. This figure was not very burly or tall, but it gave people the feeling that it was as tall as the sky. It was the most burly figure in the world, able to support the sky and earth. The aura was so mysterious that it was more unfathomable than any other expert that Lu Ming had encountered in the past. Lu Ming felt as if he was facing the entire universe when he faced this figure. Back then, when Lu Ming was faced with the saint heart left behind by the mysterious sky saint, he was already shocked by the vast aura of the other party. However, he now felt that the mysterious sky saint was like an ant or a speck of dust in front of this figure. At this moment, Lu Ming felt that he had stopped breathing. This figure was completely shrouded in the light of chaos. Its appearance could not be seen clearly, only a blurry figure. Could this be the primal Chaos Emperor? Lu Ming thought to himself. He was too powerful. The realm of the chaos, the arch, had reached a level that Lu Ming could not imagine. However, such an expert had already fallen. Lu Ming had heard from 2E that the chaos, the arch, had fallen. That was why he was looking for an inheritor. How could such a powerful existence fall? What kind of enemy was he facing? Lu Ming could not imagine it. Could it be that this figure before him was just a wisp of the primal Chaos Emperor's imprint? Lu Ming secretly guessed. I am the Chaos Scripture. Suddenly the figure spoke. His voice was calm and soothing to the ears. The Chaos Scripture? This figure is the Chaos Scripture? Lu Ming was stunned. He had never expected that the Chaos Scripture would actually take the form of a human and emit a vast and unpredictable aura. I was left behind by the primal Chaos Emperor to wait for his successor. After so many years, someone has finally made it here. My mission is complete. The Chaos Scripture opened its mouth. After it finished speaking, it turned into a ray of light and flew toward the area between Lu Ming's eyebrows. It entered the area between his eyebrows. The next moment, Lu Ming felt that there was a lot of information in his mind. The Chaos Scripture, the cultivation method of the Chaos Will, the Chaos Domain, and even the cultivation method of the Chaos Law, and the corresponding martial techniques of Will and Domain. Lu Ming closed his eyes and observed carefully. It's too mysterious, it's really too mysterious. The more he read, the more excited Lu Ming was. No, I can't see the rest now. I won't understand it even if I see it. Now, I need to turn my 5 kinds of intent into chaos intent. Lu Ming gathered his thoughts and began to read the beginning of the Chaos Scripture, which was also the most basic part, to cultivate the chaos concept. The Chaos Will was to transform 5 or more wills of completely different attributes into the Chaos Will. The Chaos Will was extremely mysterious. It was the beginning of all wills in the world. After successfully cultivating the Chaos Will, it could even transform into other wills. For example, after successfully cultivating the Chaos Intent, one could turn it into Slaughter Intent, Destruction Intent, Blood Intent, Thunder Intent, and so on. Only the Chaos Intent could not convert the strongest intent, such as Time Intent and Space Intent. After Lu Ming read through the Chaos Scripture in detail, he sat cross-legged and began to cultivate. Previously, Lu Ming had already fused 5 types of martial arts techniques into one. Therefore, it was not difficult for him to cultivate the Chaos Scripture now. It could be said that the previous trials and tests had already paved the way for him to cultivate the Chaos Will. 3 days later, the 5-colored will surrounded Lu Ming and it was getting a little heated. 7 days later, the colors of the 5-colored essence realm had become a little blurry. Half a month later, the 5 intents were already completely intertwined together, and the original color could no longer be seen. 2 months later, Lu Ming's surroundings were misty and chaotic. The original 5 concepts disappeared and were replaced by an even more mysterious and supreme concept that bloomed on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming had finally succeeded in cultivating the chaos concept, the emperor of the concept. Moreover, it was also a Class 4 grand completion. Buzz! Lu Ming stretched out a finger that was wrapped in the chaos concept. He pointed at the space and the space rippled like water. It should be known that this was the heaven realm, and the space was very stable, far more stable than the divine ruins, continents. Previously, Lu Ming could not tear the space even when he used his full strength. But now, with just a light touch, the space rippled. The power is too shocking. With my current cultivation and chaos I should be able to fight against an emperor, right? He can even suppress emperors. Lu Ming made a guess. There was a shocking fluctuation in his eyes. It was confidence, an extremely strong confidence. Lu Ming's current cultivation was only at the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual god realm, but he was confident that he could fight an emperor, or even suppress one. If others were to know about this, they would probably laugh at Lu Ming for being a lunatic. However, Lu Ming had this feeling now. In the past, he had to rely on the Thunder Cauldron, or even the help of Dandan, Bubbles, and the rest to fight against the emperor. However, now Lu Ming was confident that he could suppress the emperor without the help of the Thunder Cauldron, Dandan, Bubbles, and the rest. I wonder how little Qing is doing? I've been here for more than 3 years, but only a while has passed in the outside world. Little official, you're in my mountain and river diagram. I wonder if your time is in sync with mine? Lu Ming thought to himself. Then, the space between his eyebrows glowed and the mountain and river diagram appeared. Lu Ming moved and appeared inside the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming. As soon as Lu Ming entered the mountain and river diagram, Xian Yanqing appeared in front of him, glaring at him with resentment. Lu Ming, what happened? Why haven't you come to see me in 3 years? Xian Yanqing glared at Lu Ming with hatred, but deep in his eyes, there was a strong sense of longing. More than 3 years. Is the time inside the mountain and river diagram the same as mine? Lu Ming's heart stirred. Little Qing, it's like this. Lu Ming explained the situation in detail. It's actually like this. After hearing this, Xian Yanqing was amazed. Little Qing, your cultivation has improved a lot. Lu Ming scanned with his spiritual senses and discovered that Xian Yanqing's cultivation had already reached the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual god realm. Like Lu Ming, he was only 1 step away from the great circle of the spiritual god realm. And of course, I'm bored by myself, so I've been training hard. In 3 years, I've naturally made rapid progress. Xian Yanqing said. I'm sorry, little Qing. The next moment, Lu Ming hugged Xian Yanqing tightly in his arms. Chapter 1298. 1298 Chapter 1298 Reward. Speaking of which, the two of them really hadn't seen each other for more than 3 years. Naturally, they missed each other and snuggled up to each other, chatting. Half a day later, a voice was heard in Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming, you will be teleported back to your original place in half a month. This was Earth One's voice. In half a month? Lu Ming was stunned. Initially, he wanted to cultivate here for a longer period of time. It was because a few years of cultivation here would only be a short time in the outside world. It would be a pity to miss such a good place. But now, Earth One had transmitted a message that there was only half a month left. Lu Ming told Xian Yanqing about this and exited the mountain and river diagram. Earth One's figure was nowhere to be seen in the huge stone chamber. Earth One must have sensed something and sent him a voice transmission. Senior Earth One, why is it only half a month? Lu Ming's voice was heard. He knew that Earth One should be able to hear him. The time here is accelerated extremely fast, but to maintain the time acceleration, it requires a huge amount of energy. Every time, only when the qualified participants come here will the time acceleration be activated. Now, you have successfully cultivated the chaos will, so the time acceleration here naturally has to stop. Otherwise, there won't be so much energy consumption. Earth One's voice was heard. Lu Ming nodded. Although he felt that it was a pity, it was normal. Time acceleration was too heaven-defying, so it naturally couldn't be maintained indefinitely. It required a terrifying amount of energy. If it could be easily maintained, then it would be too terrifying. Cultivating in there for thousands of years was only equivalent to how much time had passed in the outside world. If they let a group of people in to cultivate, wouldn't that be heaven-defying? That was impossible. Even with the Primal Chaos Palace's foundation, they wouldn't be able to maintain it for long. Senior, I'll leave in half a month. Lu Ming said. All right. Earth One's voice was heard. Next, I'll increase my cultivation. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Now, his intent had already transformed into chaos intent and was at the full circle of level 4. Lu Ming's cultivation level could also be raised to the perfected spiritual god realm. Half a month's time was enough for Lu Ming to devour and refine the rough stone to improve his cultivation. With a wave of his hand, a large pile of raw gemstones appeared. The bloodline of the 9 dragons appeared. With one gulp, 10 million raw gemstones were devoured and refined. A huge number of raw gemstones were being refined and converted into essential core, helping Lu Ming to break through to the next realm. After refining 10 million, he swallowed another 10 million. 10 million and 10 million. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. Lu Ming had devoured and refined a total of 100 million raw gemstones. Such an astonishing amount of raw gemstones transformed into an astonishing amount of true essence and began to break through. Boom! The aura in Lu Ming's body surged. The spiritual god in his dantian bloomed with multicolored light and became solid and heavy, just like a real person. Lu Ming's cultivation had also broken through from the peak of the 9th level spiritual god realm to the perfected spiritual god realm. Great Circle of the Spiritual God Realm. Lu Ming had finally cultivated to the Great Circle of the Spiritual God Realm. The next step would be to start breaking through to the Emperor realm. Everything was in preparation for the Emperor. In the process of breaking through to the Emperor realm, one could comprehend the embryonic form of a domain and become a supreme. The Great Circle of the Spiritual God Realm was already at the peak of the 3 spiritual God realms. Lu Ming could feel the extremely rich vital essence in his body. He had a confident smile on his face. Now, how strong was his combat strength? Lu Ming could not figure it out and was very curious. Time to go out. Lu Ming smiled and walked towards the door of the stone room. The stone door opened automatically and Lu Ming walked out. Outside, he saw the same fighting ring. Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others were still on the fighting ring. Seeing Lu Ming come out, Earth 1, Gold 1, and the rest smiled and suddenly bowed to Lu Ming, calling out in unison, "This subordinate greets the young master." Lu Ming was stunned. He hurriedly helped Earth 1 and the rest up and said, "Seniors, what are you all doing? Please get up. Young master, you've obtained the inheritance of the Chaos Emperor and successfully cultivated the Chaos Will. You're our young master." Tu-Yi spoke and insisted on kowtowing to Lu Ming. What was the cultivation base of Earth 1 and the rest? Lu Ming could not stop them at all. He could only let them bow down to him. After paying their respects, Earth 1 and the rest stood up. "Seniors, are you all the only ones left in the Primal Chaos Hall?" Lu Ming asked curiously. "Sai, all the experts of the Primal Chaos Palace were killed in the battle that year. We are the only puppets left, but there aren't many of us left." Earth 1 sighed. "Then, can you all come out with me?" Lu Ming asked with anticipation in his eyes. The cultivation of Earth 1 and the others was unfathomable. If they could go out with him, it would be easy to kill DE and even wipe out the continent group of the Divine Ruins. Unfortunately, Lu Ming was disappointed. "We can't." Earth 1, Gold 1, and the rest shook their heads. "Young master," the venerable sovereign left behind his last words. "We can only leave if the inheritor of the venerable sovereign has reached the Saint Realm. Before that, we can't leave and can't help you much." Tu-Yi explained. Lu Ming was greatly disappointed. It seemed that the Chaos the Arch was afraid that his inheritor would rely too much on the power of Tu-Yi and the others and lose the will to improve. Thus, he set such a rule. Seeing Lu Ming's look of disappointment, Earth 1 muttered to himself for a moment and said, "Young master, it's not that there's no reward at all. Because you performed exceptionally well during the test, you'll be rewarded." With that said, Earth 1 waved his hand, and a figure appeared beside him. It was a figure that was similar to Tu-Yi's, also in a khaki color. One look and one could tell that it was a puppet. "Young master, this puppet's name is Tu Qian. It has the strength of a peak lever 2 martial royal realm expert. It can follow you out temporarily and help you. Earth One said. Peak Lever 2 Martial Royal Realm. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. That's fine. A Peak Lever 2 Martial Royal Realm expert would be the strongest in the Divine Wilderness continent, comparable to D. Greetings, young master. Tu Qian bowed to Lu Ming. All right, Tu Qian, you will temporarily enter the treasure. Lu Ming summoned the mountain and river diagram and kept Tu Qian in it. Buzz. At this moment, a token flew over and suspended above Lu Ming's head. It was the Primordial Chaos token. Young master, you have to keep this Primordial Chaos token well. In the future, you might be able to compete for the throne of the Primordial Chaos Sect's successor. Earth One said. Hunyuan Sect's successor? Lu Ming was surprised. That's right. Anyone who obtains a Primordial Chaos token will have a great opportunity in the future to compete for the position of the successor of the Primordial Chaos Sect and have the chance to inherit the sect. At that time, not only the Primal Chaos Hall, but the other 8 halls will have to listen to the orders of the successor of the Primordial Chaos Sect. Tu Yi explained. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. He did not expect the Primordial Chaos token to have such a use. Lu Ming hurriedly put away the Primordial Chaos token. Young master, will send you back. Earth One Dao. Then he joined hands with Gold One and the rest to open a void channel. Lu Ming felt his body tighten and his vision turned black. He was plunged into darkness. After an unknown period of time, there was a bright light. At the same time, Lu Ming heard a loud voice. It was Danden's voice. Chapter 1299. 1299 Chapter 1299 One Punch One Kill. Lu Ming, that guy, is really disloyal. He can't win and left us behind to run away. As soon as Lu Ming appeared, he heard Danden shouting and shouting as well as a rumbling sound. But the next moment, all the sounds disappeared. Lu Ming stood in the void. Danden, Bubbles, Hai Yu, Supreme Flood Dragon, and the others all looked at him. They were still in the ancient city, where they had fought with Hai Yu and the others. Lu Ming, you didn't leave. I thought you had left us behind and took the opportunity to escape. Danden shouted and ran toward Lu Ming. Chirping. The bubble cried out and its body glowed. It flashed in the air and appeared on Lu Ming's shoulder in the next moment. Buzz. Buzz. Whoosh. Figures flickered. Hai Yu, Supreme Flood Dragon, and the others surrounded Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I told you that you can't run away. Hand over the cultivation method for the pure spirit body. Hai Yu shouted coldly. He was holding an Emperor's spiritual weapon battle axe, and his aura was terrifying. The cultivation method of a pure spirit body belongs to the sea demon race. Let's go, said the Flood Dragon Sovereign. The dragon vein sword floated above his head, and sword chi seeped out of it, cutting open the space. Danden, how long have I been away? Lu Ming could not be bothered with Hai Yu, the Flood Dragon Sovereign, and the others. He turned to ask Danden. Not long, just a dozen breaths, but do you know how dangerous that was? Fortunately, I have many tricks up my sleeve and managed to escape with my life. Otherwise, I would have died long ago. Danden shouted. Only a dozen breaths. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Even though he knew that time was accelerated in the Primal Chaos Palace and that a few years in the Primal Chaos Palace was only a few moments in the outside world, he still felt that it was unbelievable to experience it for himself. In just a dozen breaths, his strength had undergone a tremendous change. You dare to ignore us? You're looking for death. Seeing that Lu Ming was ignoring them, Hai Yu's eyes turned cold. He held the battle axe and swung it at Lu Ming. The power of this axe had completely reached the level of an emperor. It was terrifyingly strong. Danden, Bubble, follow me. Lu Ming instructed. Then, his figure emitted the aura of the concept of wind. Chaos intent could transform into other intents at will. Wind elemental technique. Lu Ming's figure swayed slightly. His body was like a phantom. He dodged Hai Yu's axe in a flash and headed toward the other supreme beings behind Hai Yu. The wind elemental technique was a martial technique of creation that focused on movement techniques. When performed, one's body would become ethereal and traceless. After avoiding Hai Yu's attack, Lu Ming appeared in front of the other supreme martial artists from the sea-suppressing marshal's residence. Kill! Lu Ming hollered as the essential core in his body burst out. He activated the prison's suppressing heaven technique and threw a punch. Attack, attack together! One of the supreme beings roared. He was shocked by the power of Lu Ming's punch and immediately used the fusion of blood meridians to attack Lu Ming. Bang! Lu Ming threw a punch and the supreme being's bloodline was scattered. His true form appeared with a horrified expression on his face. Then his body split into pieces and exploded in the air. Heavens, heavens! He killed a supreme martial artist with one punch. In the distance, the other spectators were almost scared to death as they started to shout incoherently. It was too shocking and too terrifying. Killing a supreme martial artist with a single punch, what kind of battle prowess did this require? Could it be that Lu Ming was an emperor? Not good, quickly retreat. When the other supreme martial artists saw this, they were simply scared out of their wits. They frantically shouted and retreated. You can't leave. Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning, emitting a cold killing intent. Lu Ming activated the wind elemental technique and moved as fast as lightning. He appeared in front of another supreme being in an instant and threw a punch. Ah! A shrill scream was heard. Although the supreme being tried his best to block the attack, it was still useless. Under Lu Ming's punch, all his defenses were as fragile as tofu. Lu Ming destroyed them as easily as breaking dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. He was killed in the air. The second one. Lu Ming muttered and then charged towards the third person. Lu Ming did not use the chaos will. However, his current cultivation had already broken through to the perfected spiritual god realm. His combat strength had improved greatly. Killing these ordinary supremes was as easy as killing chickens and dogs. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming's figure flickered continuously as he swung his fists. Every punch killed a supreme being. This scene was too terrifying, causing the surrounding people to feel a chill. This was a supreme martial artist. Even in the Divine Ruins continent, he was an expert and high and mighty. But now, he was like a fragile chick that was killed by Lu Ming without any power to fight back. Beast, don't go. Fight me. Hai Yu roared. His eyes were red. These were the supreme martial artists of the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion. His heart was bleeding after seeing so many of them being killed. He controlled the emperor's spiritual weapon to slash at Lu Ming continuously, but Lu Ming's figure flashed. He did not fight Hai Yu head-on at all. Instead, he avoided Hai Yu and focused on killing the ordinary supreme beings. Boom! Another punch, and another supreme martial artist was killed. Lu Ming had already killed 5 of the supreme beings that Hai Yu had brought with him. In addition to the ones that had been killed earlier, there were more than 5 of them. How did this happen? Hai Tian, who was watching the battle from a distance, was in disbelief. He rubbed his eyes hard, hoping that all this was fake. Lu Ming, I didn't expect that your cultivation would suddenly improve so much after not seeing you for a while. You've reached the perfected spiritual god realm. Dandan stood on Lu Ming's shoulder and laughed heartily. She felt extremely carefree and proud. It's your turn. Lu Ming muttered as he looked at the supreme flood dragon and the other sea demons. Retreat, retreat, follow behind me. The flood dragon sovereign's expression changed. The sword chi from the dragon vein sword soared into the sky as he stared at Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming cast the wind element technique, and his figure was like a phantom, untraceable. With a few flashes, he dodged the flood dragon sovereign and attacked the other sea demon sovereigns. Join forces. Let's gather together and join forces. One of the sea demons roared. The other sea demon supreme beings gathered together, hoping to join forces to fight against Lu Ming. It was a pity that Lu Ming's current combat strength had far surpassed them. Boom! The fist force crushed down, breaking through everything. A phantom of the prison-suppressing steel pressed down on the body of a Supreme Sea Demon. The Supreme Sea Demon screamed as his body was pierced through, and he died on the spot. Lu Ming was like an invincible god of war, invincible in every battle. Roar! The 9 dragons appeared above Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming transformed into 9 dragons. At the same time, his 3rd bloodline appeared, and its power was even more shocking. The dragon claws continued to slash out, tearing through everything and killing several of the Supreme Sea Demons. In just the space of a few breaths, 4 of the Supreme Sea Demons had been killed. Join forces. Join forces to kill him. Hai Yu arrived with his battle axe. Kill! The Flood Dragon Sovereign also roared in anger and charged towards Lu Ming with killing intent. The 2 of them joined forces to surround Lu Ming and attack him. It's time to settle the score with you guys. At this moment, Lu Ming did not dodge. Instead, he looked coldly at Hai Yu and the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Chapter 1300. 1300 Killing the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Buzz, buzz, bush. Then, the dragon claw struck out continuously. The attack used by each dragon claw was different. There was a dragon claw that shone with an earthy yellow light. It was the earth element technique. A dragon claw suffused with lightning transformed into a long spear. That was the lightning origin technique. In addition, there were also fire elemental techniques, wind elemental techniques, and water elemental techniques. In the test of the Chaos Palace, Lu Ming was able to merge 5 martial arts techniques of creation into one. It was easy for him to cast 5 martial arts techniques of creation at the same time. The 9 dragon claws clawed at Hai Yu and the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Die! Hai Yu shouted coldly as he tried his best to activate his battle axe. His eyes were ferocious. At the same time, the Flood Dragon Sovereign was also in a similar state, his killing intent cold. Lu Ming actually did not escape and wanted to fight with them head-on. This was exactly what they wanted. They were overjoyed. They wanted to get rid of Lu Ming in one go. What is Lu Ming doing? He's looking for death. That's not wise. The people who were watching the battle from afar also exclaimed when they saw this scene. Lu Ming's combat strength was strong, but that was only for ordinary Supremes. Hai Yu and the Flood Dragon Supreme were the top Supremes, and their combat strength was already terrifying enough. It would not be too difficult for them to kill an ordinary Supreme. Moreover, they had Emperor spiritual weapons. With them, their combat strength could definitely fight against an ordinary Emperor. If Lu Ming was not courting death by fighting head-on with them, what was he? Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming's attack finally collided with Hai Yu's and the Supreme Flood Dragon's attacks. At this moment, a violent force swept across tens of thousands of miles. In the ancient city below, countless buildings collapsed and turned into ashes. Not good, quickly retreat. The people who were watching the battle from afar all retreated frantically, afraid of being swept in. Oh my God, look! Lu Ming has the upper hand. Someone cried out in alarm as they retreated. Everyone looked over and saw 2 figures rapidly retreating. The retreating figures were actually the Flood Dragon Sovereign and Hai Yu. How was this possible? Hai Yu and the Flood Dragon Sovereign were not Lu Ming's match and were forced to retreat even though they had both wielded Emperor spiritual weapons. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. Impossible! How did this happen? Hai Yu and the Flood Dragon Sovereign also roared in disbelief. The 2 of them found it hard to believe. How could Lu Ming be so powerful? A while ago, Lu Ming was not their match at all. He was completely suppressed by them. Even with the 2 pets, he was far from being their match. However, Lu Ming had only disappeared for a short while. When he reappeared, his combat strength had increased sharply and he could easily kill ordinary Supreme beings. Now, he could actually defeat them without relying on his pets or weapons. What was going on? Could it be that Lu Ming had been hiding his ability all along? Hai Yu, Supreme Flood Dragon, and the others felt that their brains were unable to process this. He must have used some kind of secret technique to increase his combat strength. If we join forces, he won't be able to hold on for long. Hai Yu roared at the Flood Dragon Supreme. Kill! Kill! Then, Hai Yu and the Flood Dragon Sovereign joined forces and attacked Lu Ming. Is that so? A cold smile appeared in Lu Ming's eyes. The lightning cauldron appeared above his head and he threw it at Hai Yu, while he himself attacked the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Buzz! This time, Lu Ming only used one claw. However, this claw was a fusion of 5 martial arts techniques of creation. When the 5 martial techniques of creation were combined, the power increased dramatically. The dragon claw collided with the dragon vein sword of the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Clang! The dragon vein sword trembled violently, and the sword chi dispersed. It then flew far away. Not good. The Flood Dragon Sovereign's expression changed drastically as he retreated. However, it was already too late. Lu Ming's attack had arrived. It was another claw attack, and it was still the fusion of 5 martial techniques of creation. The Flood Dragon Sovereign also extended his dragon claw to block with all his might. However, the instant his dragon claw came into contact with Lu Ming's, it exploded. Piu Chi, Lu Ming's dragon claw didn't stop and pierced through his body. Roar! The Flood Dragon Sovereign let out a violent roar, his eyes filled with endless fear. He wanted to struggle and escape, but the other claws of the 9 dragons had already arrived. The dragon claws were imbued with the prison-suppressing heavenly art as they smashed into the head of the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Bang! 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 With 7 to 8 consecutive explosions, the head of the Flood Dragon Sovereign was pierced through and exploded. The Flood Dragon Sovereign had fallen. The Supreme Being, who had 90% of the true dragon's bloodline, was still killed by Lu Ming despite controlling the Emperor's spiritual weapon. If I were to use my primal chaos intent, it would be much easier to kill Supreme Flood Dragon. Lu Ming had a thought in his mind. Lu Ming did not cast the chaos concept during the process. At most, he transformed the chaos concept into the concept of thunder and wind. The chaos will was Lu Ming's trump card. He would not use it unless it was a critical moment. Not good. On the other side, after Hai Yu and the Thunder Cauldron exchanged a blow, he saw the scene of the Flood Dragon Sovereign being killed. He was so scared that he almost peed his pants. At this moment, there was only one thought in his mind, and that was to run. Run as far away as possible from Lu Ming. Hai Yu turned around and ran. He flew toward the exit of the ancient city. Big brother, take me with you. In the distance, Hai Tian shouted in fear. However, Hai Yu was already scared out of his wits. At this moment, he only wanted to save his life. He didn't care about the sky and sea. He pretended not to hear anything and ran with his head down. Big brother. Hai Tian roared in despair. Buzz. Lu Ming transformed back into his human form. He took a step forward and appeared beside Hai Tian, causing him to scream in fear. Lu Ming, what are you trying to do? My father is the sea-suppressing marshal. You can't kill me. If you kill me, you'll also die. Hai Tian shouted. He was still thinking of threatening Lu Ming at this moment. Whoosh! Lu Ming waved his hand and a ray of spear radiance shot out. It pierced through Hai Tian's dantian and shattered his spiritual god. You! Hai Tian's eyes widened and he glared at Lu Ming. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so straightforward. He did not say a word and killed him in one move. With a strong unwillingness, the life in Hai Tian's eyes disappeared. The sea demons and the remaining supreme martial artists in the sea-suppressing marshal's mansion had already fled for their lives. Lu Ming glanced in the direction that Hai Yu had fled in. He was not in a hurry to give chase. Instead, he released his essential core and formed a powerful suction force, attracting all the corpses of the supreme beings. The mountain and river diagram flew out from Lu Ming's glabella and collected all the corpses of the supreme martial artists. The supreme being's corpse contained blood essence, Lu Ming still needed the blood essence to upgrade the bloodline level of the prison-suppressing steel. He could not waste it. After putting away the Supreme Being's corpse, Lu Ming had an idea and entered the mountain and river diagram. Within the mountain and river diagram, there was a mountain peak filled with the corpses of supreme martial artists. Xian Yanqing and Supreme Thunder Rhinoceros stood at the side, dumbfounded. Supreme Thunder Rhino's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. Chapter 1301. 1301 Chapter 1301 Emperor takes action. Paragons. They're all corpses of paragons. Supreme Thunder Rhinoceros muttered to himself, his eyes filled with disbelief. He was even more shocked when he saw the corpse of the Flood Dragon Sovereign. Naturally, he could sense that the Flood Dragon Sovereign's bloodline contained 90% of the true dragon's blood. Even such a powerful Supreme Being was dead. Could it be that Lu Ming had killed him? Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros looked at Lu Ming. He could feel the terrifying killing intent radiating from Lu Ming's body, as well as the suffocating pressure that he was exuding. His heart trembled. How long has it been? He's already so powerful? Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros felt his entire body tremble. Lu Ming cast a casual glance at Supreme Thunder Rhino. When he had suppressed Thunder Rhino Supreme, he had carved a great formation on his body. During this time, Thunder Rhino Supreme had obediently stayed within the mountain and river diagram. However, Lu Ming knew that Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros was definitely not convinced and was definitely looking for an opportunity to escape. Lu Ming's purpose in entering this time was to intimidate the Thunder Rhino Supreme. As expected, Supreme Lu Ming was completely dumbfounded when he saw so many Supreme Being corpses. Thunder Rhino, follow me out and kill the enemy. Lu Ming's voice rang out, and Supreme Thunder Rhino nodded his head repeatedly. Little Qing, let's go out together. With a wave of his hand, Lu Ming brought Xian Yanqing and Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros out of the mountain and river diagram. Lightning Rhino, go, over there. Lu Ming said, pointing in the direction of the ancient city's exit. Hai Yu had already escaped from the exit. Yes. Thunder Rhino Supreme's body expanded rapidly. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing stood on his body. With a loud roar, Thunder Rhino Supreme dashed towards the exit of the ancient city. Oh my god, Lu Ming's combat strength is too strong. He can stand shoulder to shoulder with an emperor, or even suppress one. It's too terrifying. Lu Ming's cultivation level is only at the perfected spiritual god realm, but his combat strength is so shocking. I've never heard of it before. The key is how old Lu Ming is. Abnormal, monstrous. Lu Ming must have gone after Hai Yu. Let's go out and take a look. The spectators were in an uproar. They couldn't control their emotions at all. Even some Supreme Being experts were shouting as if they had lost control. The fluctuation caused by Lu Ming was too shocking. Then, the group of people rushed toward the exit of the ancient city. After a while, Lu Ming arrived at the ancient city's exit on the Thunder Rhinoceros. The Thunder Rhinoceros rushed in, and in the next moment, they appeared in the deep sea. A huge pressure was pressing down on them. Walala! Lu Ming waved his hand and the surrounding seawater seemed to be under his control. It moved aside automatically and a passage appeared. Buzz! Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros was shocked by Lu Ming's methods. He then roared and rushed up. With Lu Ming's help, the Lightning Rhinoceros Supreme's speed was extremely fast. Like a bolt of lightning, they rushed up. In just a short while, they had rushed out of the deep sea 300,000 meters deep and out of the surface. As soon as he emerged from the sea, Lu Ming discovered that the air was filled with people. When Lu Ming dashed out, everyone's eyes were on him. However, Lu Ming's gaze fell on one of them. Hai Yu. Hai Yu did not run away after he emerged from the sea. He glared at Lu Ming coldly, his eyes filled with killing intent. Lu Ming, how's my brother, Haitian? Hai Yu shouted. He wanted to kill me, what do you think? Don't worry, I'll immediately send you down to accompany him. Lu Ming sneered. His words caused an uproar. What? When you saw Hai Yu running away in a hurry just now, you were so frightened. Was it because of him? How could this be? Although Lu Ming's combat strength is strong, he can't possibly be Hai Yu's match. That's strange. Who on earth obtained the cultivation method of a pure spirit body? The people who were waiting outside were shocked to see Hai Yu escape from the sea with a frightened expression. How could he do that with his cultivation? They speculated that some powerful monster had appeared at the bottom of the sea that even Hai Yu was no match for. However, it seemed that Hai Yu fled in fear because of Lu Ming. How dare you kill the people of the sea, suppressing Marshal's mansion? You should be executed by 1,000 cuts. At this time, a cold voice came from the side of Hai Yu. Lu Ming looked over and his pupils shrank slightly. An old man in a purple gold robe stood beside Hai Yu. Earlier on, the aura of the old man had been concealed. He looked like an ordinary old man. That was why Lu Ming did not notice him. However, as the elders spoke, a domineering aura burst out from his body. The pressure was as heavy as a mountain and pressed down on Lu Ming. The Emperor! Lu Ming could not help but say. At the same time, he also understood why Hai Yu didn't run away. It turned out that there was an Emperor of the Sea suppressing Marshal's mansion here. This was a true Emperor. Not good, it's the Emperor, let's go. Beneath Lu Ming's feet, Supreme Thunder Rhino sensed the aura of the purple and golden-robed elder. He cried out in horror and turned around to escape. Bang! Lu Ming's palm smacked Thunder Rhino Supreme's head, almost causing it to explode. Thunder Rhino Supreme's head buzzed and he was momentarily dazed. What are you running for? Wasn't he just an emperor? Do you have to be so scared? Lu Ming glanced at Supreme Lightning Rhino and said disdainfully. But he's an emperor. Supreme Thunder Rhinoceros was still scared to death, but when he saw Lu Ming's glare, he shivered in fear. He could only stop in his tracks and look at the purple and golden-robed elder with a guarded expression. He was wailing in his heart, sighing that Lu Ming was courting death and should not have dragged him into it. Lu Ming is not running away. The same thought flashed through the minds of the others. Facing the Emperor, he probably knows that he can't escape, so he might as well not escape. Some people guessed. I've already killed Hai Tion. I'm going to kill Hai Yu too. If you want to stop me, let's see if you have the ability to do so. Lu Ming smiled faintly. What big words! The elder in the purple gold robe shouted coldly. However, he did not dare to underestimate Lu Ming. Hai Yu had already told him about Lu Ming's combat strength. He knew very well how powerful Hai Yu was with the Emperor's spiritual weapon. Even if he was weaker than him, he was not that far behind. However, Lu Ming was able to suppress Hai Yu. One could only imagine how powerful he was. Nonsense, let's see how you're going to stop me. Kill. Lu Ming could not be bothered to waste his breath on the other party. He shouted coldly and took a step forward, charging toward Hai Yu. How arrogant! I'd like to see how much you're worth. Earth Domain. The elder in the purple gold robe extended his palm and pressed it in the air. A yellowish-brown circle spread out and enveloped Lu Ming. Domain, this was a real domain, not the prototype of a supreme realm. The speed at which the comprehension shrouded him was shockingly fast. As soon as it appeared, it enveloped Lu Ming. At once, Lu Ming felt a terrifying pressure on his body. It was as if hundreds of mountains were pressing down on him. At the same time, a wave of destructive power charged toward Lu Ming. Chapter 1302. 1302 Chapter 1302 Fierce Battle with the Emperor. Domains of different attributes had different effects, but their power was shocking. This was the Earth Domain. Not only did it have the effect of trapping the enemy, but it also had a terrifying offensive technique. Existences below the Emperor level, once trapped within the domain, would not have the slightest strength to fight back, and would be at the mercy of others. Open it! A dragon's roar was heard from within Lu Ming's body as 9 streams of dragon energy burst forth. At the same time, he borrowed the power of his third bloodline, giving Lu Ming terrifying strength. Boom! Lu Ming's palm was as sharp as a knife. He used the prison-suppressing heavenly art and struck out. Selah! This palm was like a heavenly blade that appeared in the world. With one slash, the sky and earth split open. An extremely powerful force exploded. The earth territory of the elder in the purple gold robe trembled violently as Lu Ming forcefully tore a hole in it. The expression of the elder in the purple gold robe changed. His figure flashed and he appeared in the territory. He pointed a finger at Lu Ming. I'd like to experience the strength of an emperor. The true vitality in Lu Ming's body boiled. His cultivation of the great circle of the spiritual god realm was exerted to the extreme. Lu Ming struck out with his palm again, and this palm collided with the other party's finger. Boom! There was a deafening boom and the earth domain shook violently. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force surging towards him. He stepped in the air and retreated. However, the elder in the purple gold robe also took a few steps back. That's a spirit body. What a powerful force. Lu Ming let out a breath of turbid air and pondered in his heart. A martial emperor was indeed extraordinary. The elder in the purple gold robe was at the first-level martial emperor realm, but his combat strength was considered strong even among the first-level martial emperors. Lu Ming was at a slight disadvantage in the previous move. However, Lu Ming's combat strength was still far from being fully displayed. Even so, the elder in the purple gold robe was shocked. What terrifying power! Is he still a martial artist in the great circle of the spiritual god stage? The eyes of the elder in the purple gold robe became serious. On the side, the others were already dumbfounded and stood there in a daze. Lu Ming could actually fight an emperor. He was shrouded in the emperor's territory and could still fight head-on with the emperor. It was unbelievable. Again! Lu Ming took a step back and stomped in the air, shattering the void. He continued to pounce on the elder in the purple gold robe. In the process of pouncing forward, the 9-dragon bloodline emerged. Lu Ming performed the blood meridian fusion and transformed into 9 dragons. Buzz. Bush. After transforming into the 9 dragons, he struck out with his dragon claws and executed all kinds of martial techniques of creation. He's using so many martial techniques of creation at the same time. The elder in the purple gold robe had a serious expression on his face. His hands glowed and a pair of spirit weapon gloves appeared on his hands. Of course, it wasn't an emperor weapon, but an ordinary 9th-level spiritual weapon. An emperor's spiritual weapon, the emperor of spiritual weapons, wasn't something an ordinary person could possess. Many emperors didn't have one. With the spirit weapon gloves on, the elder's body began to swell, and his muscles began to squirm. A layer of earthen yellow light appeared on the surface of his muscles as he pushed the power of his spirit body to the limit and punched out a few times. The power of each punch was stronger than the power of the previous finger. The fist force collided with the 9 dragons' dragon claw. But this time, as soon as the two came into contact, the elder's expression changed drastically. His body trembled, and the earthen yellow light around him trembled. Boom, boom, boom. After a few rumbles, the body of the elder in the purple gold robe was sent flying. He retreated a few thousand meters in the air, leaving a space crack that was a few thousand meters long. However, Lu Ming's body did not move an inch. At the scene, everyone was once again stunned. The emperor was actually at a disadvantage and was sent flying thousands of meters. The strength of an emperor is only SOS. Since you want to make a move, I'll send you on your way first. Lu Ming shouted coldly. He twisted his dragon body and charged toward the elder in the purple gold robe. How can he be so strong? The purple and golden robed elder was shocked as he forcefully suppressed the boiling blood in his body. His combat strength was considered strong even among the first-level martial emperors. However, he was not a match for a young man in the great circle of the spiritual god realm. This was simply like a fantasy. How could a martial artist in the great circle of the spirit god realm possess such powerful combat strength? If it were an ordinary great circle spiritual god, he would be able to kill them with a single slap. Seeing that Lu Ming was coming for him again, the elder in the purple gold robe could only use all his strength to fight Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them fought intensely. However, Lu Ming had transformed into the 9 dragons and his strength had increased greatly. On his dragon claws, he used different martial arts techniques of different concepts in turns. The power was shocking. Some of the dragon claws could also use the prison's suppressing heaven technique, giving the elder in the purple gold robe a lot of pressure. Although the elder in the purple gold robe had used all his strength, he was no match for the other party. He was at a disadvantage as soon as they exchanged blows. After a few moves, he was scratched by Lu Ming. If it wasn't for the fact that he had cultivated the spiritual body of the earth, which was more defensive and had amazing defensive power, he would have died. Even so, he still felt the burning pain all over his body and spat out a mouthful of blood. At this time, the sea churned and many figures rushed out. They were the experts who had entered the ancient underwater city. They had all rushed out. As soon as they rushed out, they were shocked to see Lu Ming and the elder in the purple gold robe fighting. That's an emperor. Oh my god, Lu Ming has completely suppressed the king. The king is injured. Cries of alarm rang out. They had seen Lu Ming's combat strength in the ancient city. However, when they saw Lu Ming injure an emperor with their own eyes, the impact was still very strong. Boom, boom. The battle continued, and in just a dozen moves, the elder in the purple gold robe was beaten to the point where he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. His hair was disheveled and he looked extremely pathetic. He was completely suppressed by Lu Ming. Even though he had his territory and spirit body, it was useless. Lu Ming was too powerful and had completely surpassed him. It's time to end this. Lu Ming shouted and struck out with his claw. This claw was a fusion of 5 martial arts techniques of creation and there was a flash of chaotic light. This claw made the elder in the purple gold robe feel a fatal threat. Slash. The elder in the purple gold robe roared. A battle axe suddenly appeared in his hand. The battle axe quickly grew larger and turned into a giant axe that held up the sky. It stood between the sky and the earth, and an extremely terrifying imperial pressure spread out. Emperor's spiritual weapon. This battle axe was the same one that Hai Yu had used before. It seemed that Hai Yu had given the emperor's spiritual weapon to the purple and golden-robed elder. No wonder Hai Yu was so confident and stayed here. An emperor using an emperor's spiritual weapon and a supreme being using an emperor's spiritual weapon were two completely different things. When a supreme martial artist used an emperor's spiritual weapon, he would not be able to unleash its true power. When an emperor used an emperor's spiritual weapon, its power would be extremely terrifying. The old man in the purple gold robe controlled the battle axe as if he could split the sky and the earth. Buzz! The battle axe struck down, and the huge axe radiance collided with the 9 dragons' claws. Chapter 1303. 1303 Vomiting blood in anger. Boom! The force swept out for tens of thousands of miles. A bright spot of light appeared where the axe and the dragon claw collided, and a circle of ripples visible to the naked eye spread out. Walala! In the ocean below, huge waves rose up and rolled up to the sky. It was like the end of the world. The space was completely annihilated, revealing a pitch-black space. The clouds in the sky instantly disappeared without a trace. Fortunately, the spectators were far enough away. Otherwise, no one below the Supreme Being realm would be able to survive this wave of energy. Even so, such a horrifying scene still made many people shiver and retreat. The place where the giant axe and the dragon claw met gave out a sizzling sound, and the dragon claw kept shaking. Bang! In the end, Lu Ming's attack was no match for the giant axe and was crushed. The dragon claw exploded and the 9 dragons' bodies were sent flying hundreds of miles away by a powerful force. Fortunately, the 9 dragons were formed from Lu Ming's bloodline power. After the dragon claw exploded, it immediately condensed again. What a powerful force! An emperor's spiritual weapon is indeed not something that a supreme martial artist can compare to. Lu Ming's gaze was somewhat solemn. Hai Yu's emperor's spiritual weapon had made his combat strength reach the level of an ordinary emperor. However, the emperor's spiritual weapon used by the elder in the purple gold robe was much more powerful. Lu Ming is no match for them. The emperor's spiritual weapon is too powerful. Lu Ming is no match for it. He's finished. Is such a person going to die here today? Many people cried out in alarm. Some were gloating while others felt pity. I knew it. An emperor using an emperor's spiritual weapon will completely suppress Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you want to fight me? Go to hell. Hai Yu laughed, his eyes ferocious. It's over, it's over. In the distance, Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros continued to growl. Previously, when Lu Ming had displayed his might and severely injured an emperor, Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros had thought that he was dreaming. It had only been a short while. When Lu Ming was fighting with him, he had to rely on the lightning cauldron and his pets to defeat and suppress him. However, only a few months had passed and Lu Ming could defeat an emperor with his own strength, let alone him. If Lu Ming wanted to kill him, he could probably do it with a slap. Initially, he had already made up his mind to follow Lu Ming obediently in the future. With such a proud person, he might be able to benefit from this misfortune by becoming Lu Ming's mount. However, when he saw that Lu Ming was at a disadvantage, his heart sank. What end? Lu Ming will not lose. Xian Yanqing slapped Supreme Thunder Rhino on the head and scolded him. She was very confident in Lu Ming. Moreover, she knew that Lu Ming had cultivated the legendary Chaos Will. Up until now, Lu Ming had not used the Chaos Will. He still won't be defeated even after this. Supreme Thunder Rhino was skeptical. Die! The elder in the purple gold robe wielded his battle axe and swung it, splitting the space in half. The powerful force completely enveloped Lu Ming, making it impossible for him to escape. Let's see how far I can go without using chaos intent. Lu Ming's eyes shone with a strong fighting spirit. Above his head, the thunder cauldron appeared and turned into the size of a mountain. He rushed toward the battle axe and, at the same time, used the 9 dragon steps and struck out with another claw. It was also a fusion of 5 martial arts techniques of intent. Clang! The thunder cauldron was the first to be hit. It collided with the battle axe and was sent flying. Lu Ming's attack arrived and struck the battle axe. In the midst of the loud boom, Lu Ming retreated again. However, this time, he retreated a lot less than the previous time because the thunder cauldron had offset a part of the power of the battle axe. That's all you got again. Lu Ming controlled the lightning cauldron and attacked again. Lu Ming did not use the Chaos Will. Instead, he used the thunder cauldron as a support and mainly used 5 types of martial arts techniques to engage in an intense battle with the elder in the purple gold robe. In this way, although Lu Ming was still at a slight disadvantage, it would not be a one-sided battle and he would not be in a state of anxiety. The two of them fought intensely, and the area within tens of thousands of miles became the battlefield of their battle. In the ocean, huge waves were surging. The island was swept by the terrifying force. It exploded and turned into ashes, disappearing from the sea. In the sky far away, countless people stood there, staring at the battlefield with their eyes wide open. They held their breaths, not willing to miss a single thing. Some supreme martial artists' eyes were even shining as they stared at it. It was rare for emperors to go all out in a life-and-death battle, and it gave them some inspiration. Soon, the two of them exchanged hundreds of moves. Good. Lu Ming let out a long howl and burst out laughing. In this battle, other than the chaos intent, he did not hold back at all. He used his full power and had a great time. During this period of time, his progress had been too fast and his foundation was somewhat unstable. After this battle, it could be considered to have completely stabilized and was as solid as a rock. At the same time, during the battle, Lu Ming felt that his understanding of the 5 martial arts techniques of creation was getting deeper and deeper, as if he could make a breakthrough at any time. Moreover, Lu Ming was using them together. Once he broke through, all 5 types of martial arts techniques would break through and reach the 4th level. The power of the 5 martial techniques of creation would undoubtedly increase again after they reached the 4th level. Damn it! How can a mere ant in the great circle of the spiritual god stage have such shocking battle prowess? The more they fought, the more shocked the elder in the purple gold robe was. This guy must be killed. Otherwise, there will be endless trouble in the future. I'll just waste my time with him. As an emperor, my true yuan is definitely more powerful than his, and I'll be able to last longer. The elder in the purple gold robe pondered. After making up his mind, he continued to charge at Lu Ming. In the blink of an eye, the two of them exchanged over a dozen moves. All of a sudden, Lu Ming's dragon claw swiped out. Its power was much stronger than before. Ha! I've broken through the martial arts technique of creation. Lu Ming was overjoyed. After an intense battle, Lu Ming's 5 martial arts techniques of creation finally broke through and entered the 4th level. Boom! In this exchange, Lu Ming retreated, but the elder in the purple gold robe was also pushed back. A draw! Lu Ming had been at a disadvantage in the beginning. Now, with the help of the Thunder Cauldron, he was on par with the elder in the purple gold robe. Ah, detestable! The purple and golden-robed elder naturally sensed Lu Ming's breakthrough in his martial arts technique. He roared in his heart and was so angry that he almost vomited blood. After an intense battle, not only did he not kill Lu Ming, but he also helped Lu Ming to break through his martial arts technique. How could this be? He only felt that there was a breath stuck in his chest, and it was so uncomfortable that he wanted to die. How depressing. Instead of killing Lu Ming, he had helped him. I really have to thank you. However, this battle should end here. Lu Ming laughed heartily. A layer of misty aura spread out from his body, turning into the color of chaos. The lightning cauldron trembled slightly and shrank rapidly, flying back to Lu Ming's glabella and disappearing. At the same time, Lu Ming's body shrank and returned to his human form. Lu Ming kept the lightning cauldron and returned to his human form. He walked toward the elder in the purple gold robe. What is he doing? The surrounding spectators were slightly dumbstruck. Dragon Emperor's Road to Eternity. Chapter 1304. 1304 Killing an Emperor. Lu Ming's action stunned the onlookers. Lu Ming had been able to contend with the elder in the purple and gold robe with the help of the lightning cauldron, but now, Lu Ming had put away the lightning cauldron and even cancelled the blood meridian fusion. He was heading toward the elder in the purple and gold robe. What was he doing? Was he trying to commit suicide? Countless people were filled with doubts. I don't care what you want to do. Go to hell. The purple gold-robed elder roared in his heart. He held the giant axe with both hands and poured his true yuan into it. At the same time, he controlled his domain and activated the domain power within the giant axe, pushing its power to the extreme. Buzz! The huge axe, bigger than a mountain, came down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression was calm in the face of the axe. He had no intention of using the lightning cauldron to resist. Prison suppression. Lu Ming clenched his fists and the muscles in his body squirmed. The air of chaos permeated his body, especially at his fists, where the air of chaos was the densest. The chaos will. Lu Ming had finally used the chaos will. Lu Ming used his vital essence, 9 streams of dragon energy, and the power of his third bloodline as the foundation to cast the prison-suppressing heaven technique. With the support of the chaos concept, he threw a punch. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming's fist seemed to be moving slowly, but in reality, it was flying towards the elder in the purple gold robe at an extremely fast speed. What does Lu Ming want to do? He's using his body to fight against an emperor's spiritual weapon? Crazy, he's crazy. He's looking for death? A proud son of heaven has fallen. Lu Ming's action caused a commotion. Lu Ming had abandoned the lightning cauldron and removed the blood fusion. In the end, he actually used his body to fight against an emperor's spiritual weapon. If he was not crazy, what was? No one could figure out why Lu Ming would do such a thing. Ha, I don't care what madness you're going to have. Go to hell. Hai Yu's eyes were filled with excitement. His face was ferocious, but he was laughing in his heart. In the entire place, only one person, no, only one turtle, saw through the trick, and that was Dandan. That's the chaos will. When did Lu Ming master the chaos will? Dandan's mouth was agape and tongue-tied, her pair of turtle eyes wide open, full of disbelief. Boom! Under everyone's watchful eyes, Lu Ming's fist collided heavily with the Emperor's spiritual weapon battle-axe. Everyone had imagined that Lu Ming would be crushed like dried weeds and rotten wood, that he would be severely injured by the axe or even killed. However, the scene did not appear. Instead, it was an unbelievable scene. The fist and the battle-axe collided. The battle-axe actually made a violent roar and kept shaking. At this moment, the elder in the purple gold robe seemed to have suffered a terrible blow. His arms and even his body trembled with the giant axe. Then, his face turned pale and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Buzz! The giant axe trembled. The old man in the purple gold robe could no longer hold the giant axe. The giant axe left his hand and flew into the sky. There was complete silence between heaven and earth. Everyone was stunned. Their eyes were wide open, and their mouths were agape. It was as if something was stuck in their throats, and they couldn't make a single sound. Chaos will. It really is the chaos will. Only Dandan was mumbling to herself. Chirping. Bubbles was harmless. She blinked her innocent eyes and seemed to be cheering for Lu Ming. This fellow. Xian Yanqing said softly. Even though he knew that Lu Ming had successfully cultivated the chaos concept, he was still shocked by the power. As for Supreme Thunder Rhino, he was completely petrified. The power of chaos intent is indeed shocking. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. It was said that the heaven and earth were evil levered from chaos. There was chaos chi in the heaven and earth, which was the most original and most precious treasure. It was said that a wisp of chaos chi could collapse the sky and destroy mountains. The chaos will also had the characteristics of the chaos chi. It was extremely heavy and powerful. Combined with the prison's suppressing heaven skill, they complemented each other well. With a punch, he sent the elder's giant axe flying and injured him. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. He stepped forward, surrounded by chaos intent, and punched again. Boom! The sky began to collapse wherever Lu Ming's fist passed, as if a black hole had appeared in the sky. Chaos intent spread out and completely locked onto the elder in purple and gold. The violet gold-robed elder's expression changed as he roared and punched with all his strength, hoping to block it. Boom! The moment the two fists met, the purple and golden-robed elder's domain shattered under the terrifying pressure. Then, it broke through the fist force of the elder in the purple-gold robe and landed on his fist. Kacha! The sound of bones breaking could be heard. Even though the elder in the purple-gold robe had cultivated a spirit body, it was useless. His palm was deformed, and his entire arm was twisted. The old man in the purple-gold robe screamed as he was sent flying hundreds of miles away. His face was pale and he spat out blood. However, the old man in the purple-gold robe did not dare to stay. He turned around and ran. Wind Elemental Technique. Lu Ming cast the Wind Element Technique and his figure was like a phantom. In a flash, he approached the elder in the purple-gold robe at extreme speed. From 100 miles away, he threw a punch. As the fist force pressed forward, the space within a few hundred miles in front of Lu Ming was smashed. The terrifying fist force surged towards the elder in the purple-gold robe like a raging flood. This was the suppression of power. It was simple and direct, but there was no way to dodge. The old man in the purple-gold robe could only counterattack with all his might. However, He had lost his emperor's spiritual weapon. Even if Lu Ming did not use the chaos will, he could still suppress him. He was not Lu Ming's match at all. The fist force crushed over, and the old man in the purple and gold robe rolled in the air like a little chick. His body made a crackling sound, and blood spurted out of his mouth. "It's time to end this." A deep voice came from Lu Ming's mouth. He cast the wind element technique and appeared in front of the elder in the purple gold robe in an instant. He held the void in his hand and the chaos concept condensed into a long spear. The long spear was like lightning as it pierced toward the elder's dantian. "No, spare my life." The elder in the purple gold robe roared, but Lu Ming was not moved at all. He thrust his long spear down. The spear condensed by the chaos will was extremely sharp. It easily broke through the opponent's spiritual body and pierced through the dantian, piercing through the opponent's spiritual god. The power on the spear exploded, and the elder in the purple gold robe let out a miserable scream. However, after only a breath, there was no more sound, and his life force disappeared. The old man in the purple gold robe, the emperor of a generation, was dead. The heavens! When the surrounding people saw this scene, they already felt numb and were completely unable to say a word. "Impossible!" Hai Yu roared. His eyes were bloodshot and he couldn't believe it. "It's your turn." Lu Ming fixed his eyes on Hai Yu. He moved and headed toward him. "No!" Hai Yu's body turned cold and he ran away like a madman. However, even the emperor could not escape from Lu Ming's hands. Furthermore, Lu Ming's wind element technique had extreme speed. He caught up with Hai Yu in an instant and threw a punch. The chaos will suppressed Hai Yu. Hai Yu screamed in pain. His body was torn apart and his spiritual god exploded. A supreme being like Hai Yu, who had awakened a 9th-level divine level bloodline, could not even withstand one move from Lu Ming. Chapter 1305. 1305 Blood Essence of an Emperor. Gasps were heard at the scene. The people who were watching the battle only reacted now. Everyone looked at Lu Ming in shock. The emperor had been killed by Lu Ming. This outcome was beyond everyone's expectations and it was too shocking. He was an emperor. In history, there were also peerless geniuses who could jump levels to fight. It wasn't rare to see someone in the Supreme Being realm jump levels to fight against an emperor. However, it was only a great battle. It was only a resistance, not a suppression. There were very few Supremes who could suppress emperors. Not to mention killing an emperor. Even if an emperor couldn't defeat it, they would still have a good chance of escaping. Moreover, supreme martial artists cultivated spirit bodies and had extremely strong vitality, making them very difficult to kill. There were only a few cases of supremes killing emperors in the Divine Ruins continent since ancient times. However, Lu Ming's cultivation level was only at the Great Circle of the Spiritual God Realm. A Great Circle of the Spiritual God Realm could kill an emperor. Such an example had never happened in the continent group of the Divine Ruins. There were no records of it and it was unheard of. Lu Ming had already created history. Countless pairs of eyes were looking at Lu Ming, filled with shock and fear. "Which one of you still wants to stop me?" Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning as he scanned the surroundings. All the powerhouses, including the Supreme Beings, lowered their heads immediately after meeting Lu Ming's eyes. They did not dare to look him in the eye. The powerhouses who entered the underwater ancient city knew that Lu Ming had obtained the cultivation method of the pure spirit body, but none of them dared to say anything. What a joke! Lu Ming had even killed an emperor. Whoever spoke up would be courting death. In that case, Lei Shi, let's go. With a wave of his hand, Lu Ming stored the corpse of the elder in the purple gold robe into the mountain and river diagram, then returned to the back of the lightning rhinoceros supreme. Buzz! Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros let out an excited roar, and lightning crackled around his body. He spread his 4 legs apart and sprinted toward the ocean. He was excited. Now, he was full of admiration for Lu Ming. He had no second thoughts. He had already made up his mind to follow Lu Ming for the rest of his life. Even if Lu Ming chased him away, he would follow Lu Ming shamelessly. A great circle of the spiritual god realm was able to kill an emperor. Such a genius had never appeared in history. In the future, becoming an emperor was a sure thing. It would even be easy for him to dominate the continent group of the Divine Ruins and become the strongest expert. He could even cause a wave in the Yuan continent and become an important person. Supreme Thunder Rhino would be an idiot if he didn't follow a genius with such boundless prospects. As long as he stayed by Lu Ming's side obediently, he would definitely benefit from Lu Ming's rise in the future. Originally, he had no hope of breaking through to the Emperor realm, but now, a glimmer of hope appeared in his heart. Thump, thump, thump. Supreme Thunder Rhinoceros ran with all his might, his body crackling with lightning. He streaked through the air like a bolt of lightning, piercing through the ocean and heading deeper into the ocean. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing sat cross-legged on the back of the Thunder Rhino Supreme, as steady as a mountain. Lu Ming, you've cultivated the chaos will. Amazing, really amazing. I know. In the ancient city in the deep sea, you disappeared for more than 10 breaths. At that time, a primordial chaos token appeared. Were you brought to the chaos hall by the primordial chaos token? Dandan jumped onto Lu Ming's shoulder and mumbled a bunch of questions. Dandan was worthy of being in existence at the level of an old monster. She was experienced and knowledgeable, so she guessed the general situation right at once. That's right, you didn't guess wrong. Lu Ming nodded. Impressive, Lu Ming. I was right about you. It seems that you have already obtained the legacy of that guy, Chaos. Dandan said. Dandan, you know the Chaos the Arch? Lu Ming asked curiously. Of course I do. That guy is very powerful. He is on the same level as me. Dandan placed her claws behind her back and said proudly. You can continue bragging. Lu Ming pursed his lips. He had learned from Earth One that the Chaos the Arch was one of the peak existences in the world and few could compare to him. Even the Hall Master of the Time and Space Spiritual Hall, Time and Space Spirit Rat, was slightly inferior to the Chaos the Arch. Dandan and the Space-Time Spirit Rat were equally famous. They were one of the top 10 war beasts. How could they be compared to the Chaos the Arch? Who's bragging? I'm the head of the top 10 battle beasts, the peak existence in the world. Being looked down upon by Lu Ming once again, Dandan shouted unhappily. Lu Ming smiled and did not argue with Dandan any further. With a wave of his hand, a pile of corpses appeared on the back of the Lightning Rhinoceros Supreme. They were the bodies of the supreme beings that Lu Ming had killed and the elder in the purple gold robe. Lu Ming, how about you leave these corpses to me? This is a rare tonic that can help this lord recover a portion of his strength. Dandan looked at the corpses, especially the Emperor's corpse, and almost drooled. For you? I have use for the blood essence. I can give you the rest. Lu Ming muttered to himself. The prison-suppressing steel bloodline was only at divine level 8. It needed blood essence to level up. As for the rest, they were not of much use to Lu Ming. Lu Ming's current cultivation level was at the great circle of the spiritual god stage. The next step would be to comprehend the embryonic stage of the domain and step into the supreme stage. This step could not be improved by devouring with the 9-dragon bloodline. It had to be comprehended by oneself. In fact, his future cultivation could not be improved by devouring. Comprehension was the most important. Therefore, other than the blood essence, the blood of a supreme emperor, vital essence energy, and so on were useless to Lu Ming. He might as well give them to Dandan. Then, Lu Ming took out some jade bottles and directed them with his vital essence. The blood essence from the supreme beings, corpses flew out and into the jade bottles. There were a total of 7 supreme martial artists. Each supreme martial artist had 9 drops of blood essence, which were stored in different jade bottles. Finally, it was the blood essence of the old man in the purple gold robe. As an emperor, The elder's blood essence was like a blood-colored pearl, filled with endless energy. As it flew out, a vast and boundless imperial pressure was emitted. This was Lu Ming's fault. If it was an ordinary martial artist below the spiritual god realm, they would have been shaken to death by this kind of imperial pressure. An ordinary spiritual god realm warrior would be seriously injured. Only those at the advanced spiritual god level and above could get close and collect the blood essence of the emperor. Lu Ming used a jade bottle to store the blood essence of the emperor. As for their storage rings, Lu Ming naturally did not let them go. He had already kept them. "Dandan, you can have it," Lu Ming said. "Haha." Dandan laughed and opened her mouth. The corpses of the supreme martial artists and emperors were all sucked into her mouth and disappeared. "I'll keep it and slowly digest it." Dandan grinned, her eyes narrowing. Then, Dandan's eyes started to size up the sea again. The treasures in the ocean are more than 10 times more abundant than those on land. There are countless rare treasures. "I can't miss this trip," Dandan muttered. Chirping. Bubbles called out in response to Dandan. "Ha, good. We'll work together to get more treasures." Dandan grinned and pulled Bubbles to the side to discuss. Chapter 1306. 1306 Chapter 1306 The prison-suppressing steel advances. Lu Ming did not bother about Dandan and Bubbles. A jade card appeared in his hand and he handed it to Xian Yanqing. "Shaoqing, this is the cultivation method for pure spirit body. Take it and study it." The cultivation method of a pure spirit body? Is there really such a secret technique in this world? Xian Yanqing's eyes were filled with curiosity. He took the jade tablet and looked at it carefully. After a while, Xian Yanqing was amazed. "Amazing, this is really amazing. If I can cultivate a pure spirit body, it will be much easier for me to break through to the emperor realm in the future." Xian Yanqing sighed. "Little Qing, we need to rush back to the divine wilderness continent. We will need some time. Use this time to comprehend it," Lu Ming said. Okay." Xian Yanqing nodded, then entered the mountain and river diagram and began to comprehend the pure spirit body. As for Lu Ming, he continued to sit cross-legged on the back of the Thunder Rhino Supreme. He took out a jade bottle, and his 9-dragon bloodline appeared. He opened his mouth and sucked, swallowing the 9 drops of supreme blood essence in the jade bottle and began to refine it. Lu Ming had planned to travel by himself. However, he needed time now. Refining the blood essence, cultivating the pure spirit body, and comprehending the 5 martial techniques of intent all required time. According to the Chaos Scripture, one could cultivate the Chaos Will martial technique, Chaos Sky-Turning Seal, only when the 5 martial techniques of creation, including the Earth Aeon technique, were cultivated to the highest realm. That was a martial technique of the Chaos concept. It was terrifyingly powerful. Naturally, Lu Ming was looking forward to it. Therefore, he might as well ask Supreme Thunder Rhino to hurry along so that Lu Ming could save time and cultivate various martial arts techniques and secret techniques. The 9 dragons swallowed the 9 drops of supreme blood essence and began to refine it at an extremely fast speed. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, refining 9 drops of supreme blood essence at the same time was not a problem at all. Moreover, the refining speed was much faster than before. In just a few hours, the 9 drops of supreme blood essence had been completely refined. The 8 golden chakras of the prison-suppressing steel bloodline glittered, but it had not advanced. Lu Ming took out another 9 drops of supreme being blood essence and began refining. Just like that, Lu Ming focused on refining the blood essence. After refining 1 supreme being blood essence, he took out another. After more than a day, Lu Ming had refined the blood essence of 6 supremes. The prison-suppressing steel bloodline still had not advanced, but Lu Ming felt that it would be soon. He took out the blood essence of the 7th supreme martial artist. The 9 dragons opened their mouths, and 9 drops of blood essence flew into their mouths. The majestic power of blood essence was constantly transformed into bloodline power and integrated into the bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel. Buzz! After a while, the bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel vibrated. A new chakra appeared on top of the original 8 golden chakra. His 9th meridian cycle, the prison-suppressing steel bloodline, had finally advanced to divine level 9. The bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel gave off a bright light. Lu Ming felt that the aura emitted by the prison-suppressing steel bloodline had completely surpassed the 9 dragons' bloodline. It seems that the origin of the prison-suppressing steel is very shocking. It's even more powerful than the 9 dragons. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. Lu Ming had a feeling that if he performed the blood fusion and transformed into the prison-suppressing steel, its power would be stronger than the 9 dragons. The original form of the prison-suppressing steel must be a treasure beyond imagination. It's a pity that I only have one piece. If I could get all of them, how powerful would it be? Lu Ming's eyes shone with a fiery light and were filled with anticipation. Since he had found a fragment of the prison-guarding steel, it meant that the other fragments were still in this world and there was a chance to find them. Not long after, the energy of the blood essence was completely refined. Lu Ming kept the blood meridian. All right, my bloodline has reached the 9th rank of the divine level, which is the highest level. Now, it's time to comprehend the pure spirit body. Plop, plop. At this moment, 2 figures flew out from the ocean below and landed on Supreme Thunder Rhino's body. They were Dandan and Bubbles. At this moment, the 2 of them were each holding a spiritual herb and gnawing on it. Level 9 Spirit Medicine, Water Spirit Ginseng. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The spiritual medicine that Dandan and Pow Pow were eating was an upper level 9 spiritual medicine, Water Spirit Ginseng. Since a day ago, these 2 fellows had been diving into the ocean from time to time in search of natural treasures. They were having a great time eating. In any case, Bubbles had grasped the space-time intent, so she wasn't afraid of losing him. No matter how fast he ran, Bubbles would still be able to keep up. In a short while, the level 9 spirit herb, Water Spirit Ginseng, was finished by the 2 of them. Their bodies emitted a strong spirit herb aura. Obviously, there were many other spirit herbs in their stomachs besides the Water Spirit Ginseng. The natural treasures in the ocean were indeed incomparable to those on land. There were more than 10 times as many. On the land, human warriors mined, but in the ocean, there were fewer human warriors. At most, some demonic beasts in the ocean would devour them, but there were also many remains. The 2 guys ate happily. Little guy, we'll continue later. Dandan squinted her eyes at Bubbles. Chirping. Bubbles nodded repeatedly. Even the bubbles that she exhaled had a rich spirit herb aura. These 2 fellows. Lu Ming smiled, then entered the mountain and river diagram. Only the mountain and river diagram remained on the back of the Thunder Rhino Supreme. After entering the mountain and river diagram, Lu Ming went to Xian Yanqing's side. Xian Yanqing ended his cultivation after sensing Lu Ming's aura. Little Qin, how's your comprehension going? Lu Ming asked. It's all right. However, it's easy to comprehend, but not so easy to cultivate. It's even more difficult to completely master it. Xian Yanqing said. Indeed. Lu Ming nodded. He had already memorized the cultivation method of a pure spirit body. It was just as Xian Yanqing had said, it was not easy to cultivate it successfully. Cultivating a pure spirit body required a huge amount of raw gemstones as a foundation because it required a huge amount of energy. With a huge amount of energy as the foundation, it can allow the body to evolve and transcend the mortal body, having part of the power of the spirit body. This process couldn't be achieved overnight. It required one to move forward step by step and fight steadily. The 2 of them continued to study. 3 days later, Lu Ming waved his hand and a large pile of raw gemstones appeared beside him. Lu Ming sat cross-legged and circulated the cultivation technique of the pure spirit body. One could see strange lines appearing on his body. There were a total of 108 lines, which looked like meridians. This was the special route of pure spirit bodies. Bang bang bang. With a shake of his essential core, a large pile of raw gemstones was shattered and turned into rolling original chi. Lu Ming opened his mouth and inhaled the rolling original chi. He began to temper his body according to the cultivation method of the pure spirit body. Ooh! The original chi of at least 100,000 raw gemstones was swallowed by Lu Ming. It seeped into the depths of Lu Ming's physical body following the cultivation method of the pure spirit body. Lu Ming's physical body had already reached the peak of the 9th grade and had reached the limits of his physical body. However, at this moment, it began to break through its limits and achieve evolution. This was because the limit of a complete grade 9's physical body was the limit of a mortal body. Now, the mortal body had evo-levered into a spirit body. As the original chi seeped in and was absorbed, Lu Ming's body began to transform. A few hours later, the original chi of 100,000 raw gemstones was completely refined. Lu Ming swallowed another 100,000 raw gemstones. Just like that, Lu Ming devoured a total of 1 million raw gemstones. At this time, Lu Ming finally stopped. Chapter 1307. 1307 The Power of a Pure Spirit Body. 2. Lu Ming let out a long breath and opened his eyes. Pili pala. His body moved slightly, and there was a sound like beans being fried. His skin was covered with a thick layer of dirt, which were all impurities. What powerful strength! Lu Ming sensed his body and realized that it was filled with explosive power. It was pure physical strength and not the power of vital essence. Moreover, Lu Ming could feel that his body was full of qi and blood. With a single thought, his qi and blood would rush out of his body and burn like a furnace, full of strong vitality. Lu Ming, how is it? Xian Yanqing asked, blinking his big eyes. About 10%. Lu Ming said. A pure spirit body could not be achieved overnight. One had to take it one step at a time and slowly cultivate to perfection. Now, Lu Ming could be considered to have cultivated the initial stage of a pure spirit body. He was about 10% done. Little Qing, you're next. I'll help you guard. Lu Ming said. All right. Xian Yanqing nodded. She began to cultivate the pure spirit body. 108 paths appeared in her body. The cultivation process was similar to Lu Ming's. He absorbed the origin energy from the origin stone and tempered his body. A few days later, Xian Yanqing finished his cultivation. Like Lu Ming, he had also reached 10%. Come, let's go out and clean our slaviers up. Lu Ming said. His body was covered in a layer of dirt and it was really uncomfortable. The two of them left the mountain and river diagram and jumped into the sea to wash up. Boom! In the sea, Lu Ming threw a punch. This punch didn't use true yuan, nor did he use the power of his bloodline. It was purely physical strength. In the sea, it was as if an ancient giant beast was going berserk. In front of Lu Ming's fist, the sea water suddenly exploded. The powerful force of the fist created a 100-mile-long passage in the sea. What a powerful force! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Lu Ming felt that the pure physical strength of this punch could kill an 8th or even 9th level spiritual god expert. This was only a pure spirit body at 10% maturity. If it was cultivated to 100% perfection, the power would be terrifying. At that time, it would be easy to kill a supreme martial artist with one punch. Of course, the higher the level of attainment, the harder it would be to cultivate. Boom! Not far away from Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing also waved his palm, stirring the sea water and forming a wave that was 1,000 meters high. As expected of a pure spirit body, Lu Ming had a smile on his face. With a stronger physical body, Lu Ming's combat ability would naturally be stronger as well. The pure spirit body. It's not a true spirit body yet. It's not as amazing as a true spirit body, but its power is already very shocking. No wonder the emperor is so powerful. Lu Ming sighed. After washing up, the two of them returned to the back of Supreme Thunder Rhino. Thunder Rhino Supreme continued on his way, while Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing continued their cultivation. Xian Yanqing entered the mountain and river diagram and focused on cultivating his pure spirit body. As for Lu Ming, he would cultivate his pure spirit body for a period of time every day. He would also take some time to cultivate 5 types of martial arts techniques of creation. As time passed, Lu Ming's various aspects were slowly improving. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. With the lightning rhinoceros supreme speed, it would take at least 4 months to fly from the Divine Ruins continent to the Divine Wilderness continent. Only 20 days had passed, so there was still a long distance to go. Dandan and Bubbles would rush into the depths of the ocean from time to time in search of natural treasures. During this period of time, their mouths had not been idle at all. They had swallowed countless spirit herbs and their entire bodies were filled with a strong medicinal fragrance. In half a month, Lu Ming's pure spirit body had already reached 30%. With just his physical body, even a great circle spiritual god stage expert would be injured with a single punch. At this moment, Lu Ming temporarily stopped cultivating. My current cultivation is at the great circle of the spiritual god stage, and my foundation is solid. I can try to break through to the supreme level. However, to break through to the supreme level, I need to comprehend an embryonic domain. To comprehend an embryonic domain, I need to spread the runes of intent and integrate them into the spiritual god. I still have no clue. Let's see if the domain solidifying pill can help me. Lu Ming had an idea and a jade bottle appeared in his hand. It was the domain solidifying pill that he had obtained when he had participated in the selection of the disciples of the major sects in the Yuanlu continent. A martial artist in the great circle of the spirit god stage would be able to greatly increase their chances of forming a prototype domain if they consumed the domain solidifying pill, allowing them to step into the supreme being stage. Without hesitation, Lu Ming swallowed the solidifying domain pill and began to refine it. 2 days later, Lu Ming opened his eyes, a look of disappointment on his face. It's useless. It's completely useless. Lu Ming furrowed his eyebrows tightly. He had refined a domain solidifying pill, but it was completely useless. Originally, the domain solidifying pill could help Lu Ming to open up the concept runes and integrate them into the spiritual god to form the embryonic form of the domain. However, when Lu Ming refined the entire domain consolidation pill earlier, the intent runes did not move at all. It said that the stronger the intent, the harder it is to form a domain. It seems like it's true. Lu Ming sighed. He knew that it was because the chaos concept was too powerful. One domain solidifying pill did not have much effect. It was tens or even hundreds of times more difficult for Lu Ming to refine the embryonic form of the chaos domain than other concepts. Let's take it slow. Lu Ming shook his head. He gave up on the idea of breaking through to the supreme being level for the time being and focused on cultivating the pure spirit body and martial arts technique of creation. Time passed day by day. 2 months had passed since Lu Ming went out to sea. After 2 months of hard work, he had reached the peak of the 4th level. Of course, it would be more difficult for him to break through the 4th level. He was a pure spirit body, and he had cultivated to 40%, almost reaching 50%. Lu Ming's ability was also constantly improving. Xian Yanqing's pure spirit body was about the same as Lu Ming's. It was close to 50%. It was worth mentioning that Xian Yanqing's cultivation was also improving due to the continuous breakthroughs of his pure spirit body. He entered the great circle of the spirit god realm in one go. Her cultivation had already reached the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual god realm after being in the primal chaos palace for more than 3 years. Now that she had cultivated a pure spirit body, it was completely natural for her to enter the great circle of the spiritual god realm. On this day, Lu Ming was cultivating when he suddenly sensed movement outside. His body flickered and he exited the mountain and river diagram. Whoa! Didn't you just steal a few spiritual herbs? If you dare to chase after this lord, I'll remember this. Dandan shouted, and together with the bubble, they rushed out of the ocean and flew toward Lu Ming. Walala! The sea water churned, and the sea water within 1,000 miles was stirred up. Then, a big furry hand stretched out from the sea and grabbed at Dandan and Bubbles. The furry hand was 1,000 miles long and was covered in long, sparkling blue hair. It exuded a terrifying aura. An emperor, this was the aura of an emperor. How dare you steal medicine in my territory? A furious roar came from the bottom of the sea. The giant hand sped up and grabbed at Dandan and Bubble. Chirping, Papa spat out a transparent bubble and opened up a spatial passageway. It and Dandan rushed into the spatial passageway and instantly appeared on Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros' back. The giant hand turned and grabbed at Supreme Thunder Rhino. Chapter 1308. 1308 Chapter 1308 C. Suppressing Divine Ape. The Emperor of the Demon Race. Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros was so frightened that his entire body was trembling. One Dan Emperor Realm. I can test out the strength of a pure spirit body. Lu Ming's fighting spirit was revealed. His figure soared into the sky and rushed towards the 1,000-mile giant hand. An ant dares to resist? You're courting death. At the bottom of the sea, a furious roar was heard again. The 1,000-mile giant hand grabbed at Lu Ming. Who is the ant? Go! Lu Ming shouted coldly. The 9 streams of dragon energy burst out in his body. The pure spirit body circulated and filled Lu Ming with infinite power. Boom! Lu Ming threw a punch and cast the prison's suppressing heavenly art. The punch collided with the 1,000-mile giant hand. With an earth-shaking boom, the 1,000-mile hand gave off a blue light and then suddenly exploded in the air. Phew! An unbelievable roar came from the depths of the ocean. The sea water churned and a blue figure rushed out of the ocean. It was an ape that was more than 3 meters tall. Its entire body was covered in blue fur, and it exuded a terrifying aura. It stared at Lu Ming with a ferocious gaze, still in disbelief. He could not believe that Lu Ming could destroy the huge hand that he had condensed with one punch. How is it possible for a mere great circle spirit god? The ape was even more incredulous when it saw Lu Ming's cultivation level. A sea-suppressing divine ape. Interesting. It's a good choice to take him in as a helper. Lu Ming sized up the ape and revealed an interested expression. The sea-calming ape was a type of divine beast. However, it seemed that this sea-suppressing divine ape wasn't a pureblood before it broke through to the Emperor realm. Instead, it transformed into a sea-suppressing divine ape after it broke through to the Emperor realm. There was still a huge difference between it and a pureblood divine beast. What did you just say? You want to take me in as your hatchet man? You're just a mere ant. You're courting death. Upon hearing Lu Ming's words, the sea-suppressing divine ape flew into a rage. It took a step forward, and the endless sea water in the ocean seemed to obey the ape's command. The endless sea water turned into a giant stick that was thousands of miles long. The sea-suppressing divine ape held it in its hand and smashed it toward Lu Ming. If you're not convinced, then I'll beat you until you're convinced. Lu Ming smiled faintly, and his third bloodline appeared. Lu Ming borrowed a wisp of the third bloodline's power to make it even stronger. As for blood fusion and chaos will, Lu Ming did not plan to use them yet. Boom! Lu Ming cast the prison-suppressing heavenly art and threw a punch. Thump! Heaven and earth shook, and the sea water churned, creating thousands of waves. The giant rod that was condensed from seawater exploded with a single punch from Lu Ming. Buzz! Lu Ming cast the wind elemental technique, and his figure was like a phantom as he pounced toward the sea-suppressing divine ape at extreme speed. The sea-suppressing divine ape's expression changed drastically. It let out a furious roar and charged toward Lu Ming while emitting blue light. Boom! Boom! After a few moves, The sea-suppressing divine ape let out a blood-curdling screech and was sent flying for thousands of miles. It spat out a mouthful of blood. This sea-suppressing divine ape wasn't even as strong as the purple and golden-robed elder, let alone the fact that the elder had an emperor's spiritual weapon. As for Lu Ming, he had cultivated a pure spirit body and his combat strength was even stronger. He could easily suppress the sea-suppressing divine ape without even using the bloodline fusion or the chaos will. How is that possible? How can he be this strong? The sea-suppressing divine ape's heart was filled with question marks and disbelief. It could not figure out how a mere martial artist in the great circle of the spiritual god realm could possess such terrifying combat strength. Run! Without any hesitation, the sea-suppressing divine ape turned around and ran. It was about to rush into the sea. You can't run away. Lu Ming cast the wind element art. His figure swayed as he approached the sea-suppressing divine ape and threw a punch. This punch was the fusion of 5 martial techniques of intent. The terrifying power made the sea-suppressing divine ape shiver all over. It felt that there was no way to escape. He roared and tried his best to fight back. Unfortunately, he was completely defenseless against Lu Ming's punch and was sent flying 1,000 miles. His body almost exploded and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. His aura was weak. One move and he was seriously injured. Surrender to me or else I'll kill you. Lu Ming took a step forward and crossed thousands of miles to arrive in front of the sea-suppressing divine ape. He looked at it with a cold gaze. In particular, Lu Ming had borrowed the power of the third bloodline. The cold and merciless killing intent made the sea-suppressing divine ape's heart and body turn cold. I surrender, I surrender. In the end, the sea-suppressing divine ape had no choice but to lower its head. I'm going to inscribe a restriction on you. Otherwise, I won't be at ease. Dandan, it's your turn. Lu Ming said. All right. It flew toward the sea-suppressing divine ape. The sea-suppressing divine ape was helpless. At this moment, its life was in Lu Ming's hands, so it could only set up the restriction. Lu Ming, this sea-suppressing divine ape's mansion is at the bottom of the ocean. There are many treasures there. Dandan's eyes lit up. Chirping. Bubbles also waved her little claws, her face full of excitement. There were 2 bubbles at the tip of her nose, one big and one small. Dandan, this fellow has led Bubble astray. Lu Ming was speechless. Plop, plop. Dandan and Bubbles rushed into the sea impatiently. The sea-suppressing divine ape was helpless. Now that he had joined Lu Ming's side, he would definitely lose his mansion and treasures. Lead the way, I'll also go take a look. Lu Ming instructed the sea-suppressing divine ape. Yes. The sea-suppressing divine ape bowed and replied. Then, Lu Ming and the sea-suppressing divine ape entered the ocean together. In the depths of the ocean, there was a divine mountain with countless spiritual herbs growing on it. This place was the sea-suppressing divine ape's residence. On the divine mountain, there were also some powerful sea demonic beasts. However, they had already been flipped over by Dandan and Pow Pow. The 2 fellows were desperately picking spiritual herbs and stuffing them into their mouths. This is 100,000-year-old bejeweled nectar. Suddenly, loud laughter was heard. Lu Ming and the sea-suppressing divine ape stepped into the sacred mountain. At the top of the mountain, they saw a small pool filled with a blue crystal-like liquid. The liquid emitted an extremely dense life aura. At this moment, Dandan and Bubbles were rolling around in the small pool and drinking in big gulps. Hiss, hiss, hiss. When the sea-suppressing divine ape saw this scene from the side, his liver, lungs, and entire body ached in pain. Even it could not bear to use this pool of nectar, but now, Dandan and Bubbles were drinking it in big mouthfuls. Every mouthful felt like they were biting its flesh. If not for Lu Ming, it would have gone crazy. What bad luck! The sea-suppressing divine ape wailed in its heart, lamenting its bad luck to have met Lu Ming. It would lose its freedom in the future, and all the wealth it had accumulated for a lifetime would be ruined by Dandan and Pao Pao. "You two guys, leave some for me." Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He took out a big jade bottle and poured the nectar into it by activating his essential core. He only stopped after the bottle was filled to the brim. It was not that Lu Ming was satisfied, but that the bejeweled nectar in the pool was all gone. It had all gone into Dandan and Bubbles' stomachs. What a waste! Lu Ming's heart ached. The serum was even more precious than the life potion. A single drop was hard to come by, and its value was immeasurable. Chapter 1309. 1309 Returning to the Divine Wilderness Continent. But now, most of them had been swallowed by Dandan and Bubble. Giggle. The two guys had round bellies and even burped a few times. Bubbles' eyes were blurred and her body was glowing as though she was drunk. Indeed, next, the Bubble climbed onto Lu Ming's shoulder. It lay on Lu Ming's shoulder and fell into a deep sleep. The milky white glow on its body became more and more intense. "Lu Ming, I'm going to take a nap too to digest the energy in my body." Dandan's eyes were blurred and she climbed onto Lu Ming's other shoulder. "Lu Ming, wait for me. When I wake up again, I'll be able to enter the Emperor realm." Dandan continued to mumble, her voice getting softer and softer. These two fellows had consumed too many spirit herbs during this period of time, and in addition to nearly a pool of nectar, it was finally time for them to evil Avir. After muttering to herself, Dandan also fell asleep on Lu Ming's shoulder. Lu Ming kept Dandan and Pao Pao into the mountain and river diagram. Then he let the sea-suppressing divine ape lead the way and collected the remaining spiritual herbs in the vicinity. Anyway, the sea-suppressing divine ape was going to leave with him. It would be a waste to leave these spirit herbs here. He flew out of the sea. "Little ape, bring me along. I'll give you this sea map. Bring me to the divine wilderness continent." Lu Ming said to the sea-suppressing divine ape. The sea-suppressing divine ape almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Little ape? Was this the name she had given him? However, the sea-suppressing divine ape could only helplessly accept this name under the pressure of power. Lu Ming asked Supreme Thunder Rhinoceros to return to the mountain and river diagram to rest, while the sea-suppressing divine ape carried Lu Ming and hurried on with their journey. The sea-suppressing divine ape was an emperor, and its speed was several times faster than Supreme Thunder Rhinos. Originally, the journey would take more than 2 months, but the sea-guarding divine ape only used half a month to cross it. In front of them, a huge continent could be seen in the distance. They had arrived at the divine wilderness continent. After half a month of cultivation, Lu Ming's pure spirit body had finally reached 50%. At this point, Lu Ming let the sea-suppressing divine ape enter the mountain and river diagram and switched to the Thunder Rhino Supreme. The sea-suppressing divine ape was, after all, an emperor. Riding it into the divine wilderness continent would be too ostentatious and would cause a commotion. Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros was a bit better. Boom, boom, boom. Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros stepped into the void and carried Lu Ming as he flew towards the divine wilderness continent. "I'm finally back." Xian Yanqing stood beside Lu Ming and mumbled to himself. There was a complicated look in his eyes. Now that she was back, it was time to settle the score between her and the Xie family of the ancient Saint dynasty. Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros stepped into the void and flew into the divine wilderness continent. Countless mountains and rivers flashed beneath his feet. This place was the northern plains of the divine wilderness continent. Lu Ming guided Supreme Thunder Rhino towards the 100 Beast tribe. Xie Luan and the others should be guarding the 100 Beast tribe. Not long after, they were close to the 100 Beast tribe. Something's wrong. Lu Ming frowned. Along the way, he noticed that something was wrong. There was something wrong with the atmosphere. Many large places and cities were heavily guarded, as if a storm was brewing. "Who's there?" "Stop." "Not good, it's a supreme being expert." Suddenly, A few loud roars were heard. A group of armored soldiers rushed out from a large mountain in front of them and blocked Lu Ming and the others. When they sensed the aura of Supreme Thunder Rhino, their expressions changed. Send word that an unknown paragon is attacking. An armored soldier shouted. No, that's not right. That's Handsome Lu. Lu Ming, Handsome Lu. At this moment, someone exclaimed. What? The other soldiers all turned to look at the figure on Supreme Lightning Rhino's back. Just a moment ago, they had been so shocked by the aura of Supreme Thunder Rhino that they hadn't noticed his back. Now that they'd seen it, they were all stunned. It's really General Lu. How is that possible? Didn't the experts of the continent of Divine Ruins spread the news that General Lu died in battle there? That's right, how is he still alive? But I've seen General Lu before, so I'm not wrong. I've seen him before too. This is General Lu. The hundreds of armored soldiers clamored as they looked at Lu Ming in shock and doubt. I died in battle on the continent of the Divine Ruins? What's going on? Lu Ming frowned. He felt that something was not right. Buzz! Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared in front of the armored soldiers. The hundreds of armored soldiers were shocked and could not help but retreat. I'm Lu Ming. What are you afraid of? What's going on? Lu Ming said. Are you really General Lu? Some of the armored soldiers were still bewildered. Nonsense. Quickly spread the news and have the chaotic heavens divine warrior come. Lu Ming said. These were only ordinary soldiers and didn't know much. They wouldn't be able to explain it clearly, so it was better to ask Xie Huan directly. All right, we'll immediately spread the news. A leader-like armored soldier quickly took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent out a message. Not even 10 breaths had passed. Sila. Hiss. The space rippled and cracks appeared. One figure after another walked out of the cracks. Every one of them exuded a powerful aura. Xie Huan. Lu Ming saw at a glance that the person in the lead was Xie Huan. Apart from that, Lu Ming also saw Mo Yi, the sovereign of the myriad demons abyss, Chu Luo, the sovereign of the demon god valley, the barbarian emperor, the sovereign of the 100 beasts tribe, and the sovereign of the floating mountain sect, the moon heart martial emperor. Why is martial emperor Yuexin here? A trace of doubt flashed across Lu Ming's heart. Big brother Yen. Lu Ming also saw Yen Kuangtu and a few other supreme being experts. Everyone's eyes fell on Lu Ming the moment they appeared. Lu Ming. It's really Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not die. One voice after another came out from the mouths of the crowd. They were filled with shock and surprise. Lu Ming, I knew you would be fine. Yen Kuangtu was overjoyed to see Lu Ming, and he charged toward him. Buzz! Supreme Thunder Rhinoceros roared, his entire body suffused with lightning as he cautiously stared at Yen Kuangtu. Yen Kuangtu couldn't help but stop in his tracks. Lei Shi, it's one of us, you step down. Lu Ming instructed Supreme Thunder Rhino. Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros immediately became obedient. He retracted his aura and transformed into a burly man, standing behind Lu Ming. Paragon. He's a paragon. Xiu, the barbarian emperor, and the others glanced at Supreme Thunder Rhino in surprise. A supreme being seemed to be very obedient in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming actually had such great abilities to subdue a supreme being and make him so obedient. This was very rare. Lu Ming, I knew that you would be fine. Yen Kuangtu laughed heartily. He came to Lu Ming's side and patted his shoulder. He picked up the wine gourd and took a big gulp. Big brother Yen, how have you been? Lu Ming smiled. Yen Kuangtu's concern could not be concealed. It was true, and Lu Ming's heart warmed. Lu Ming. At this moment, Xie Huan, Chu Luo, and the others also stepped forward and greeted Lu Ming. Lu Ming greets all the seniors. Lu Ming cupped his fists and looked at Martial Emperor Yuexin. What a coincidence, Senior Yuexin is also in the 100 Beasts tribe? Chapter 1310. 1310. The situation changed. Lu Ming, the entire floating mountain sect has been moved to the 100 Beasts tribe. Martial Emperor Yuexin was very beautiful, but at this moment, she let out a long sigh filled with desolation. What's going on? Also, why do they all say that I died in the Divine Ruins continent? Lu Ming asked, full of questions. Lu Ming, it's a long story. Let's go back to the 100 Beasts tribe first and I'll tell you in detail. Xiaowan said. All right. Lu Ming nodded and the group headed towards the inner area of the 100 Beasts tribe. After arriving at the 100 Beasts tribe, Lu Ming felt that the atmosphere was even more off. Inside and outside the 100 Beasts tribe, there were all kinds of formations. Every corner was guarded by powerful warriors and many armored soldiers. The atmosphere was very heavy, as if a great battle was about to start. When Lu Ming left the Divine Wilderness continent, although the Divine Wilderness continent was also in the midst of a war and the Northern Plains had just experienced a war, the atmosphere then was not as heavy as it was now. Now, it seemed like a life-and-death battle was about to happen at any time. Lu Ming was even more curious, but he could only suppress his doubts and ask later. The news of Lu Ming's return quickly spread throughout the 100 Beasts tribe, causing a huge commotion. Lu Ming and the group arrived at a meeting hall in the 100 Beasts tribe. In the meeting hall, everyone was seated on both sides. There were 2 seats at the head of the table, and Xiaowan was seated in one. Lu Ming, please. Xiaowan raised his hand and motioned for Lu Ming to take a seat. Lu Ming did not stand on ceremony and sat down beside Xiaolun. He did not notice the displeasure in the eyes of Chu Luo, Mo Yi, and the other sovereigns. After everyone sat down, more and more people came in. They were all high-ranking officials, and even the weakest was a supreme being expert. In a moment, there were dozens of people sitting in the hall. Senior Xie, why did those armored soldiers say that I died on the continent of the Divine Ruins the moment I came back? Lu Ming could not help but ask. Lu Ming, not long ago, the sea-crossing ship that took you to the continent of the Divine Ruins returned. The experts of the Gate of God of the continent of the Divine Ruins said that you, Lu Ming, offended the paragon of the Yuan continent's big sect, the deity sect. You angered the deity sect, and they killed you. Xiaowan said. Lu Ming frowned. The experts of the Gate of God were obviously the ones who had sent Long Chen, Ming Zi, and the others back from the South God Palace. But why did the people of the South God Palace say so? They said that he had been killed. Could it be that the people from the South God Palace were experts from the Mu family? Lu Ming's heart stirred. When Long Chen, Ming Zi, and Monk Wuliang set off to return to the Divine Wilderness continent, it should be the time when Lu Ming and the rest were being pursued by the Mu family's head and the rest. This was why the people from the South Deity Palace believed that Lu Ming was dead for sure. They only said that Lu Ming had been killed when they arrived at the Divine Wilderness continent. Lu Ming made a guess in his heart. Then what about Long Chen, Dark Child, and the Western Desert's Saint Monk? No one came out to speak? Lu Ming asked. No, and only 3 people came back. Their Dark Child and the 2 holy monks of the Western Desert. Long Chen is nowhere to be found. After Dark Child and the other 2 came back, they released the news that they were in seclusion and didn't say a word to the outside world. Xiaowan said. Long Chen didn't come back. Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. Could it be that Long Chen had also been assassinated like them? Moreover, looking at the situation, Ming Zi and the rest should have been warned by the South God Palace and did not say a word. In this case, the matter of Lu Ming being recruited as a disciple by another big sect in the Yuan continent, Dragon God Valley, was naturally not revealed. Lu Ming, did you really offend a heaven's favorite of the Yuan continent's big sect, the Tianshan sect? At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out. Lu Ming followed the voice and looked over. It was Ciuluo, who was staring at Lu Ming. Lu Ming raised his eyebrows slightly. In the past, Ciuluo had always addressed him as General Lu. But now, he was calling Lu Ming by his full name, and his tone was questioning. The others, gazes fell on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Given his intelligence, he naturally knew what was going on. In the past, they had taken a fancy to Lu Ming's talent and thought that he could join a major sect in the Yuanlu continent and lead them in the future. However, the people from the South God Palace came and said that Lu Ming had offended a genius of a major sect in the Yuanlu continent and had been killed by him. Although Lu Ming was still alive, he had offended a genius of a major sect in the Yuanlu continent. Naturally, he could not join a major sect. They could not join the major sects of the Yuanlu continent and had even offended the geniuses of the major sections. Naturally, their attitude towards Lu Ming changed. That's right, I have offended the Heaven's Pride expert of the Tianxin sect. Lu Ming answered honestly. Lu Ming, I don't want to criticize you, but even though you have some talent, you still need to know your place and know your limits. Your talent is not bad in the divine wilderness continent, but in the Yuan continent, it's nothing. How dare you offend the Yuan continent's elites? It's fine if you offend them, but don't drag us down with you. Tsulua said coldly. Lu Ming, I want to know if the major sects in the Yuanlu continent know that you've returned this time. Mo Yi also spoke. Tsulua, Mo Yi, that's enough. Lu Ming is my ally. On the side, Xie Luan frowned and scolded. Ancestor devil, but... Chu Luo wanted to say more. I said enough. Xie Luan's eyes turned cold. Chu Luo shut his mouth and did not dare to say another word. However, he looked at Lu Ming with a faint disdain. Since Lu Ming could not join a major sect in the Yuanlu continent, he was just a junior. He was only a spiritual god realm martial artist, and he looked down on him from the bottom of his heart. Lu Ming smiled slightly and did not bother to explain. He had defeated the Heaven's Pride expert of the Tianxin sect and won first place in the test. He had also joined another major sect of the Yuanlu continent, the Dragon God Valley. Senior Xie, what is the situation in the Divine Wilderness continent? Why do I feel that the 100 Beast tribe is heavily guarded, and that all the seniors are gathered at the 100 Beast tribe? Lu Ming asked the other question in his heart. In the past, the experts had been guarding different places in Northern Plains, but now, they seem to be gathered in the 100 Beast tribe. Lu Ming, the situation in the Divine Wilderness continent has changed greatly. Xie Luan frowned at the mention of this. The situation has changed? What's the reason? Lu Ming asked. Because of D. Xie Luan said. D. Lu Ming's heart trembled. DE had such a great ability to change the situation of the Divine Wilderness continent. Yes, it's because of D. When you left, the Heavenly King token was also taken away by the experts of the Gate of God. However, the enmity between the ancient Saint dynasty and the heaven-suppressing divine army has run deep. It's difficult to stop the battle, the elder said. The other overlord forces are also at war. The central continent is still in chaos, but the situation is still good. But a few months ago, he suddenly launched an attack. Xie Luan explained in detail the major events that had happened during this period, especially those related to Martial Emperor D. It turned out that for so many years, everyone had been deceived by Martial Emperor D. Not only was he powerful, but he had also secretly developed his forces. No one knew when Nenming had been subdued by Martial Emperor De and joined him. Chapter 1311. 1311 De's scheming. The sovereigns of the southern underworld had been subdued by Martial Emperor De at some point in time. All of them had submitted to Martial Emperor De, and the entire southern underworld was under his control. The Eastern Barren Territories' Heavenly Corpse sect was also established by an emperor of the southern underworld. The reason why they were constantly fighting against the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was to attract attention and make the other transcendent powers not care too much about the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. In this way, De could continue to improve his strength in the dark. When the time was right, he could start a war. A few months ago, Martial Emperor De finally couldn't hold back and led the army of the South Underworld to attack the central continent. Many overlord forces were destroyed by Martial Emperor De, and some directly surrendered. Di Yi's strength increased greatly, and he even sent out strong cultivators to help the Xie clan of the ancient Saint dynasty deal with the heaven-suppressing divine army. After a shocking battle, the heaven-suppressing divine army suffered heavy losses and retreated to the border of northern plains to join forces with Xie Luan to fight against the strong enemy. Thus, during this period of time, the atmosphere was extremely tense. All the experts of northern plains were gathered in the 100 Beasts tribe, ready to deal with the enemy's attacks. Lu Ming was shocked after hearing the story. At the same time, he also understood something. He now understood why the Heavenly Corpse sect of the Eastern Barren Territory could rise up in such a short time and compete with the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. It was all under the arrangement of Martial Emperor Di. Of course, their strength had increased quickly. Back then, when they were fighting for the Heavenly King's token, the Eastern Barren Territory and the Southern Netherworld did not make any moves. Lu Ming and the rest found it strange at that time, but it made sense now. The East Barren and the South Underworld were basically under the control of Martial Emperor Di. At that time, the time was not right. Without Martial Emperor Di Yi's order, the East Barren and the South Underworld naturally would not take action. Even if Di Yi and the Masters of the South Underworld are added, their strength should not be so strong. If the overlords of the Central Continent join forces, there will be many emperors. How can they be defeated by Di? Although Di Yi's combat strength is strong, the heaven-suppressing divine army has a deep foundation. There may be some strong people who can compete with him. How can he be defeated so easily? Lu Ming asked the question in his heart. Although Di Yi's combat power was strong, even with the addition of Nanming, there would not be too many emperors. There would not be more than 7. Some of the stronger overlord forces in the Central Continent would have 2 emperors, or even more. If several overlord forces joined forces, they would not be so easily destroyed. Because Di Yi has helpers. Di Yi's cultivation is at the peak of the 2nd level of the martial royal realm, and he has a king's spiritual weapon. The key is that 2 terrifying experts have suddenly appeared beside him. Both of them are at the peak of the 2nd level of the martial royal realm, and they also have king's spiritual weapons. Xie Luan said with a grave expression. What? Lu Ming was shocked. There were 2 more experts at the peak of Level 2 martial royal realm beside Di. In the Divine Wilderness continent, a peak 2nd level martial royal realm expert was definitely at the peak. Before Lu Ming went to the Divine Wilderness continent, the only peak 2nd level martial royal realm experts on the surface were Xie Luan and Di, which showed how rare they were. But now, how could there suddenly be 2 experts at the peak of the 2nd level of the martial royal realm beside Di? What was even more shocking was that the 2 of them had Emperor spiritual weapons. Emperor spiritual weapons were extremely rare, and most emperors would find it hard to own one. At the same time, Lu Ming also understood the current situation of the Divine Wilderness continent. Although there were not many emperors around Di, their high-end combat power was too strong. Di himself, along with 2 peak Level 2 martial royal realm experts, could definitely sweep away the overlord forces of the Divine Wilderness continent. No one could defeat him. No wonder the atmosphere in Northern Plains was so heavy and tense. In Northern Plains, Xie Luan was the only one who was at the peak of the 2nd level of the martial royal realm. Now, Di Yi's army is attacking the few overlord forces in the Central Continent. I heard that they have besieged the Tianxia Academy in recent days. The Tianxia Academy is in danger. Xie Luan said. Tianxia Academy. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly brightened, exuding a strong fighting spirit. Lu Ming, what are your thoughts? Xie Luan asked. Rescue them. Rescue the Tianxia Academy. Lu Ming said firmly. Haha, rescue? Lu Ming with what? Now that Di is powerful and has many masters, we can't even protect our slaviers. How can we save him? Chu Luo sneered, his tone full of disdain. The rest of the people also shook their heads, apparently agreeing with Chu Luo. Below, Yen Kuangtu wanted to say something but stopped himself. He seemed to have something to say to Lu Ming, but he held back in the end. If the lips die, the teeth will grow cold. I'm sure you all understand that the Tianxia Academy is not weak. If it is broken by De and surrenders to him, it will only strengthen De's strength. If we save it and join forces with us, it will strengthen our strength. Only then can we possibly compete with De. Lu Ming said. That's true, but logic is logic. In fact, we are not strong enough. We have to defend with all our strength to have a chance of survival. If we go to the rescue and cause De to attack in advance, Lu Ming, will you be responsible for this? Chu Luo sneered. If I'm the one to lose, then I'll lose. Lu Ming said. Ha, you're going to lose? Ridiculous. Lu Ming, to put it bluntly, what right do you have to take responsibility for this? Although you're in an alliance with the demon ancestor, in this world, strength is everything. If you don't have the strength, then be more honest. Chu Luo laughed out loud. This sentence was clearly belittling Lu Ming. Xie Luan frowned, thinking that Chu Luo had gone too far. But he also didn't agree with saving the Tianxia Academy now, so he pondered for a moment and didn't speak. Lu Ming, I can tell you clearly that if you want to save the Tianxia Academy, you have to do it yourself. We will not help you, in case Di attacks you in advance. Chu Luo said. I'll go with Lu Ming. Yan Kuangtu stepped forward. I'll go with Lu Ming too. I'll go too. Then 2 voices were heard. It was the barbarian emperor of the 100 Beasts tribe and martial emperor Yuexin of the floating mountain. No, you're not allowed to go either. You're in the same boat as us now. If you go, you'll weaken our strength and attract Di's attack in advance. Sulua said loudly. Phew. Yan Kuangtu, the barbarian emperor, and the others had unsightly expressions. You don't need to go. I can save Tianxia Academy by myself. Lu Ming's voice suddenly rang out, causing everyone to be stunned. Lu Ming alone? Rescue the Tianxia Academy. How is that possible? Lu Ming, it seems that your vision has changed after your trip to the continent of the divine ruins. You've become more and more self-aware. No wonder you even dare to offend the pride of a major sect in the Yuan continent. Sulua sneered. At the thought of obediently listening to Lu Ming's orders in the past, Chu Luo felt uncomfortable. At that time, he had thought that Lu Ming could join a major sect in the Yuan continent. He had taken Xie Luan's words and followed Lu Ming's orders because he saw his future. He was an emperor, but he was actually taking orders from a young man in his 20s. He had always felt uncomfortable in his heart. Now that Lu Ming had overestimated himself and dared to offend a heaven's favorite of a major sect in the Yuanlu continent, he was almost killed. The road ahead was cut off. Naturally, he would no longer hide his thoughts and would no longer listen to Lu Ming. Chapter 1312. 1312 Chapter 1312 Battling Tsulo. He. At that moment, Lu Ming sneered. Since his return, Chu Luo had been mocking him non-stop, which already made Lu Ming a little unhappy. Lu Ming looked at Chu Luo coldly and said, "Which eye of yours saw that I'm overestimating myself? Also, you think you're great just because you're an emperor? In my eyes, you're not even worth mentioning." What did you just say? Chu Luo was furious. He stood up from his seat and his emperor power burst out. A terrible pressure pressed toward Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming was as calm as a Buddha's face. He sat there without moving. Sulua, sit down. Xie Luan berated. Ancestor devil, you've seen it for yourself. This man is so arrogant that he doesn't even put an emperor in his eyes. I used to think that he was the #1 figure, but now it seems that I've completely misjudged him. Chu Luo said, I'm not looking down on the emperor, I'm looking down on you. Lu Ming sneered. You're looking down on me? Good. I'd like to see how much you've improved after your trip to the Divine Ruins continent. Today, I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of the fiend ancestor. Chu Luo was furious. He said, good, 3 times in a row and stepped out of his seat. His aura grew stronger and stronger. Some of the supreme beings at the side had a change in expression and found it difficult to breathe. If you want to fight, then go out and fight. Lu Ming stood up and took a step forward. In a flash, he was out of the hall and in the sky above the hall. Many people were stunned. What did Lu Ming say? He was going to fight with Tsuluo? Did he really dare to fight with Tsuluo? Many people thought they had heard wrong. Although Lu Ming had concealed his aura, they could still sense that he was only at the spiritual god realm. A young man at the spiritual god realm was actually going to fight with an emperor. Lu Ming was not crazy. He was really arrogant. You've all seen it. This kid is arrogant and ignorant. I'll teach him a lesson. Chu Luo laughed in anger, his eyes full of anger. Lu Ming actually dared to challenge him. A spiritual god challenging an emperor was a great insult to him. He had to teach Lu Ming a lesson. He did not think that all this was the result of him provoking Lu Ming. Chu Luo also came out of the hall and flew to the sky. Let's go out and take a look. Buzz. Buzz. Bush. The experts in the hall all rushed out of the hall and stood in the void. Lu Ming. Yen Kuangtu also rushed out of the hall with a worried look on his face. Lu Ming. A strange look flashed across Xiao Wan's eyes. Based on his understanding of Lu Ming, he knew that Lu Ming was not an arrogant person. On the contrary, Lu Ming would never fight a battle that he was not confident in. Could Lu Ming really create a miracle and fight against an emperor? A look of anticipation appeared in Xiao Wan's eyes, and he also left the hall. Look who's that? That's Demon Emperor Tsulo. The other one is Commander Lu Ming. What's this for? From the looks of it, Demon Emperor Tsulo is going to fight General Lu. That can't be. Demon Emperor Tsulo is an emperor. How can General Lu be his match? With so many experts gathered in the sky, their auras were vast and the commotion was huge. Within the 100 Beasts tribe, many people sensed the commotion and looked over. Some people were discussing in disbelief. High up in the sky. Lu Ming, I admit that although you're talented, you're too arrogant and condescending. Today, I'll teach you a good lesson and make you come to your senses and recognize yourself. Tsuloa's voice rang out as he stepped forward. With every step he took, heaven and earth seemed to resonate with him, rumbling and trembling. The powerful aura belonging to a martial emperor burst out and filled the world, making many people shiver and break out in cold sweat. Some of the weaker ones were forced to their knees. It was as if they were facing the heavenly Tao. They were unable to resist. However, Lu Ming stood still in the void. He did not move at all and did not even lift his eyelids. This world is much bigger than you can imagine. The divine wilderness continent is just a small piece of land. In the entire primordial realm, a first-level martial emperor is just the lowest level of existence. A mere first-level martial emperor is already so high and mighty. Your achievements will stop here. A calm and indifferent voice came out of Lu Ming's mouth. Shut up. How can you judge my achievements? Lu Ming's words infuriated Chu Luo. He was the first to move. He stepped forward and clenched his claw in the air. A dark claw condensed from demonic qi grabbed at Lu Ming. Even a supreme being would be seriously injured by this claw. However, Lu Ming did not move in the face of this claw. It was as if he did not see it and allowed the huge claw to claw him. Why didn't Lu Ming retaliate? Could he be scared? Or is he confined? The power of an emperor is too terrifying. He can confine the world. Lu Ming might want to attack, but he can't move. Seeing this scene, many people made guesses. Lu Ming, quickly run. Yen Kuangtu grew anxious. However, Lu Ming still did not move. A mere spiritual god realm ant dares to preach to me. I'll teach him a good lesson. As long as I don't kill him and break a few bones, I don't think the fiend ancestor will blame me. Chu Luo sneered, and his demonic qi intensified. In an instant, the giant claw was about to grab Lu Ming's head. At this moment, Lu Ming finally moved. Lu Ming's action was very simple. He simply threw a punch. Boom! The space exploded like tofu. The claw that Tsulua had condensed also exploded and disappeared under Lu Ming's punch. This? Everyone's eyes widened in shock. Lu Ming's seemingly casual punch had destroyed the claw condensed from Tsulua demonic chi. Although Chu Luo did not use his true abilities, he could still injure a supreme being, but Lu Ming had defeated him so easily. How was this possible? Had Lu Ming's combat strength already reached this level? It was too shocking. What a powerful punch. It's full of power, especially the power of the physical body. It's amazing. Why do I feel like my spirit body is going to explode? The barbarian emperor said, his eyes filled with shock. I have the same feeling. The other sovereigns also spoke out. Lu Ming. Xielwan's eyes also lit up. Yan Kuangtu's eyes were even brighter. You have some skills. Take another move from me. Chu Luo roared. He felt humiliated after being blocked by Lu Ming, and the anger in his heart grew. Buzz. The demonic domain spread out from his body and enveloped Lu Ming. At the same time, his muscles swelled up and he suddenly threw a punch. This punch contained the power of the territory and the power of the spirit body. It was 10 times stronger than the previous move. Tsulua had used his real power and displayed the power of an emperor. Roar! A dragon's roar resounded within Lu Ming's body. At the same time, his third bloodline appeared and a wisp of energy surged into Lu Ming's body. Chapter 1313. 1313 Chapter 1313 Intimidating the Experts. Buzz. Lu Ming cast the wind element technique. His body trembled as he rushed toward Chu Luo at top speed and threw a punch. The two of them each threw out a punch, which collided in the air. Boom! A deafening sound was heard. Then, under everyone's shocked and incredulous gazes, Chu Luo's domain was crushed by Lu Ming's punch. Kacha! The sound of bones breaking reverberated through the entire area. Chu Luo screamed as his entire arm was deformed. His body shook violently and he was sent flying like a cannonball. As for Lu Ming, he did not move an inch. The heavens! Everyone looked at this scene with their mouths agape. They were completely stunned and tongue-tied, their eyes filled with disbelief. Chu Luo, a demon emperor, was sent flying by Lu Ming's punch and his hand bones were broken. How was this possible? This was simply like a fairy tale, something that was simply impossible to happen. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it even if they were beaten to death. In fact, even if they had seen it with their own eyes, many of them didn't dare to believe it and thought that they were dreaming. Boom! Many powerhouses couldn't control their excitement, and a powerful aura burst out of their bodies. Xielwan was no exception. Monster, what a monster! It seems like the people of the Gate of God didn't tell the truth. They must be hiding something. Xielwan muttered to himself, his face brimming with excitement. Lu Ming. Yan Kuangtu mumbled to himself as he trembled with excitement. He had injured an emperor with one punch. What did this mean? It meant that Lu Ming's combat strength had at least reached the emperor level. You're acting all high and mighty with this little combat strength. Who gave you the confidence? Lu Ming strode in the void and charged at Chu Luo at top speed, throwing another punch. Lu Ming circulated his essential core to the maximum for this punch. There was also the power of 9 dragon energies, the power of the third bloodline, and of course, the power of a 50% pure spirit body. The terrifying power, coupled with the prison-suppressing heavenly art, was extremely powerful. Chu Luo roared as a saber appeared in his hand. He slashed out with all his might. Boom! The dazzling saber radiance collapsed under Lu Ming's iron fist. The terrifying fist force hit Chu Luo's saber, causing him to tremble and retreat, blood spurting from his mouth. 9 dragons trampling the heavens. Lu Ming's figure appeared above Tsula's head with the wind elemental technique. His hands quickly formed seals, and 4 gates of sealing appeared around Tsula. The powerful sealing force imprisoned Tsulua in the void. During this period of time, Lu Ming did not give up on cultivating the 9 seals of the divine gate. Every day he would take some time to comprehend it. After several months of hard work, the 9 seals of the divine gate had improved further. He could condense 4 sealing gates at once and was even more powerful. Then, Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps and took 8 steps in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Chu Luo's body trembled violently, and with every step he took, he spat out blood. In the end, he crashed to the ground like a meteorite. Lu Ming waved his hand and activated the Thunder Origin spell. A lightning whip condensed from lightning flashed out and wrapped around Chu Luo's body, pulling him to Lu Ming. At this moment, Chu Luo's face was pale. Half of his body had been blown up, and blood was flowing out of his mouth. This was also an emperor. If it had been an ordinary ancient martial art practitioner, they would have been in grave danger. An emperor had a spirit body, so they could recover after some time. At this moment, Xiuluo looked at Lu Ming with a gaze full of fear and disbelief. The scene was silent, dead silent. He had lost. Chu Luo had lost. He had been completely defeated. In the face of Lu Ming, Chu Luo was like a baby, unable to withstand a single blow. Xiuluo was an emperor, and his cultivation had reached the late stage of the first-level martial emperor realm. He was not considered weak among the martial emperors. However, he was powerless against Lu Ming. Was he still human? Was Lu Ming still human? Lu Ming's cultivation level was only at the spiritual god realm. Since when did a spiritual god realm cultivator have such combat strength that he could easily crush an emperor? This was unheard of since ancient times. Everyone's eyes were wide open as they looked at this scene in a daze, completely speechless. You are very strong. Lu Ming stared at Xiuluo and said indifferently. These 3 words made Chu Luo's body tremble. These 3 short words made him feel ashamed. Just now, he thought he was the emperor and looked down on Lu Ming. When Lu Ming said that he wanted to save the Tianxia Academy alone, he called Lu Ming arrogant and ignorant. But now, it was proven that he was the arrogant one and the ignorant one. Xiuluo's body trembled slightly. After a long while, he took a deep breath, lowered his head, and bowed deeply to Lu Ming. General Lu's talent has shocked the world and surpassed the ancient Almighty. Xiuluo is ignorant and blind. Please forgive him, General Lu. Xiuluo's voice was sincere and sincere. He was finally convinced, completely convinced. He had never heard of such a prodigy since ancient times, at least not in the divine wilderness continent. It had exceeded his imagination, and he was finally convinced. General Lu's talent has shocked the world. The other powerhouses in the surroundings were deeply touched. They also bowed to Lu Ming. General Lu's talent has shocked the world. General Lu's talent has shocked the world. Following that, more and more people knelt down to pay their respects to Lu Ming. Their voices were louder and louder, and in the end, they echoed throughout the entire 100 Beast tribe. After this battle, many people were truly convinced of Lu Ming's abilities and acknowledged that he had formed an alliance with Xie Luan to become the supreme commander. Previously, many people had addressed Lu Ming as Handsome Lu because of Xie Luan. In fact, they looked down on Lu Ming in their hearts. However, after this battle, everyone truly regarded Lu Ming as someone on the same level as Xie Luan, or even higher. He already had such combat strength before he broke through to the martial emperor realm. If Lu Ming broke through to the martial emperor realm, how powerful would his combat strength be? It was unimaginable. Lu Ming stood in the void and accepted the worship of the powerhouses. His face was calm, like an invincible god of war. Go back and heal your injuries. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the lightning whip. Chu Luo flew far away. Thank you for your mercy, General Lu. Chu Luo bowed. Lu Ming, I haven't seen you in a while. You've really changed my opinion of you. Xie Luan stepped forward, laughed, and asked, Lu Ming, did the experts of the Gate of God hide anything when they came to the divine wilderness continent? Not bad. Lu Ming nodded. Now that he had established his prestige, there was no need to hide it. This time, the deity sect is not the only one that came to the continent of the divine ruins to recruit disciples. There are 3 other major sects. Lu Ming said. There are 3 other major sects? Many people's hearts trembled. In their hearts, the major sects of the Yuanlu continent were high and mighty existences that they could not climb. This time there were 4 of them. Xiel Wan seemed to have thought of something, and his eyes lit up. The people from the Gate of God only said that Lu Ming had offended the prodigy of the deity sect. However, if he had offended the deity sect, there were still 3 other sects. Chapter 1314. 1314 Chapter 1314 Descending to the Tianxia Academy. It's true that I have offended the Heaven's Pride expert of the Tianshan sect. However, I have already defeated him. I have also joined another major sect in the Yuanlu continent, Dragon God Valley. Lu Ming said. As expected. Xiel Wan's eyes shone with an astonishing light. General Lu has joined a major sect in the Yuanlu continent. The hearts of many other experts trembled, and their eyes also bloomed with a bright light. General Lu's talent has shocked the world. Someone shouted again, extremely excited. This time, he was even more pious and respectful than before. Previously, it was because of Lu Ming's ability. This time, it was because of Lu Ming's identity. Lu Ming had already joined a major sect in Yuanlu and was a disciple of a major sect. In the eyes of everyone, his status had suddenly become high and mighty, even surpassing that of Xiel Wan. All right, I'm done. Lu Ming pressed down with one hand and the scene immediately quieted down. I'll talk about the details later. Now, according to the original plan, I'll rush to the Tianxia Academy first and rescue it. Lu Ming said. No, General Lu will go with you. It's too dangerous for you to go alone. The barbarian emperor spoke. Yeah, we'll go with you. Yan Kuangtu said. No need. You guys stay here and guard. I know what I'm doing. I won't let myself be in danger. After Lu Ming finished speaking, he did not say anything more. He waved his hands in the air and the void split open. Lu Ming stepped in and disappeared. Even after Lu Ming had disappeared, the crowd's excitement had yet to calm down. The main reason was that the shock caused by Lu Ming was too shocking. When Lu Ming went to the Divine Ruins continent, his cultivation level was low. But now, he was able to suppress emperors. This kind of progress was too amazing. No, we can't let Lu Ming take the risk alone. Moon Heart Sovereign, Sky Wind Sovereign, you two take some men and guard this place. Mo Yi, Barbarian Emperor, you two follow me and secretly head to Tianxia Academy. If Lu Ming is in danger, we'll help him. Xiel Wan ordered. I'll go too. Fiend Ancestor, I'll go too. Yan Kuangtu and Chu Luo stepped out and said. Although Chu Luo had been injured by Lu Ming, his origin was not injured. At this moment, the effect of the spirit body was activated and he was rapidly recovering. Half of Chu Luo's body that had been damaged had already recovered. Of course, Lu Ming had been merciful. If his source was injured, it would be impossible for him to recover so quickly. Good, you all will set off with me. With that, Xiel Wan tore open space and led a group of experts to the Tianxia Academy. The Tianxia Academy was in a state of war. Most of the Tianxia Academy's territory had already been occupied by the Ditian Divine Palace. Only the White Jade Palace had not been broken through. The White Jade Palace was suspended in the air, emitting a brilliant light. The White Jade Palace was surrounded by an army. In the army, there were people from the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, the Heavenly Corpse sect, the Southern Underworld, and some from other overlord forces of the Central Continent. They had joined DE and fought for the world with him. Boom. Boom. At the top of the White Jade Palace, there were 2 majestic figures. They were shrouded in endless divine light and exuded a terrifying aura. It was the pressure of an emperor. The 2 figures were emperors, and they were launching attacks at the White Jade Palace. Inside the White Jade Palace, there were two white-haired old men. They were also exuding the aura of emperors. They were working together to resist the attacks of the emperors outside. Attack together. This White Jade Palace won't be able to hold on for long. In the crowd, a purple-robed middle-aged man was giving orders. If Lu Ming was here, he would definitely be able to recognize this man at a glance. He was the master of the Wang family, one of the 6 great ancient aristocratic families of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, Wang Shengtian. Now, he was in high spirits. He was one of the first group of people to follow Martial Emperor Di. He was Di Yi's trusted aide. Since Martial Emperor Di showed his true strength, he had been invincible. The strength of the Empyrean Heavenly Divine Palace had become stronger and stronger as they grew older. However, those forces that joined later on and those experts naturally did not have a higher status than him. Only emperors had a higher status than him. Those supreme martial artists were a head lower than him and had to curry favor with him and listen to his orders. Buzz, buzz, bush. From all directions, countless attacks and light rays attacked the White Jade Palace. The White Jade Palace was completely submerged in the light rays. Block it. In the White Jade Palace, the disciples and elders of the Tianxia Academy shouted and attacked with the array of the White Jade Palace, trying to resist. Boom, boom, boom. However, there were too many attacks from the outside world. The White Jade Palace was rumbling and shaking. If this continued, they wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Tianxia Academy, I advise you to surrender quickly. His Majesty, Martial Emperor Di, is a hero of the ages. He has received the order of the heavens and will unify the divine wilderness continent. If you resist, you will only be seeking your own death. The voice of the Wang clan's patriarch spread far and wide. Di is a wolf with wild ambitions. He wants to unify the divine wilderness continent? Dream on. Our Tianxia Academy would rather be destroyed than surrender. Voices came from the White Jade Palace. The master of the Wang family's face darkened and he snorted coldly, "You really don't know what's good for you. I've given you a chance, but you don't know how to cherish it. Then die. Continue attacking." Buzz, buzz, bush. Tens of thousands of attacks and rays of light flew toward the White Jade Palace. The intense battle continued. At this moment, 1,000 miles to the north of Tianxia Academy, space cracked open and Lu Ming stepped out. "It seems that I'm not too late." Lu Ming looked into the distance and muttered. Then, he took a step forward and headed toward the battlefield. Lu Ming covered the distance of 1,000 miles in the blink of an eye. "Who are you? Stop right there." As soon as Lu Ming approached, he was discovered. A group of black-robed martial artists with a sinister aura all over their bodies had their eyes on Lu Ming. The people of the Southern Nether. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes as he continued to move forward. The people of the Southern Nether were very easy to recognize. "Brats, stop. You're looking for death." An expert in the 3rd level of the spiritual god realm slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming stretched out a palm and clenched it in the air. Devouring power erupted from his palm and enveloped the 3rd level spiritual god realm's Southern Nether expert. His body was directly fixed in the air and he could not move at all. Then, to his horror, he realized that the blood essence, fresh blood, vital essence, intent runes, and other things in his body had all flown out of his body and into Lu Ming's palm. Such a strange scene scared him so much that he screamed. However, every few breaths, his body would shrivel up, and he would lose all signs of life. What evil technique! Let's attack together and kill this man. At the side, when the others saw this scene, they widened their eyes in shock. Then, they roared and charged at Lu Ming. "Devour!" Lu Ming muttered. An even stronger devouring force erupted and enveloped the group of people. They were all turned into mummies and their corpses fell to the ground like raindrops. Enemy attack, enemy attack. Terrified screams rang out. More people noticed Lu Ming and attacked him. Lu Ming stepped into the void as if he was taking a stroll in a courtyard. The devouring power burst out, leaving a trail of dried corpses wherever he went. Chapter 1315. 1315 Chapter 1315 The Third Underworld Emperor. Regardless of whether they were below the spiritual god realm or a spiritual god realm powerhouse, the result was the same. Everything would be devoured and they would become a dried corpse. Retreat, retreat. Call the strong. The army was in chaos, and many people retreated in shock. The army was thrown into chaos because of Lu Ming alone, and a gap appeared. Who is so audacious, daring to attack my Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace? A loud shout was heard. Then, more than 10 figures flashed and appeared in front of Lu Ming. What a coincidence! The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly. A few of them were Lu Ming's old acquaintances. The Wang clan's patriarch, Wang Shengtian, the Jiang clan's patriarch, and the Luan clan's patriarch. 3 of the clan heads of the 6 great ancient clans of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace had come. More than 10 people followed behind the 3 clan heads. 3 of them were supreme-level experts, while the others were all at the 9th level of the spiritual god realm, at the great circle of the spiritual god realm. It's you. The masters of the Wang and Jiang families were stunned when they saw Lu Ming. They stared at him in disbelief. Lu Ming, it's you. Didn't you die? He died in the Divine Ruins continent, in the hands of the Divine God Sex Paragon? After a long while, the crowd finally recovered. The Wang family master pointed at Lu Ming and exclaimed in disbelief. The news of the experts from the Divine Gate's South God Palace coming to the Divine Wilderness continent and announcing Lu Ming's death had long spread throughout the Divine Wilderness continent. Almost all the powerful factions knew about it. Wang Shengtian and the others had thought that Lu Ming had died in the Divine Ruins continent. They were naturally surprised to see him now. You didn't die, so how could I die? Lu Ming smiled faintly. So you didn't die. You're really lucky. But you're really stupid. Since you didn't die, you should have hidden. Now you've come out and even come here. You're really seeking death. Then I'll fulfill your wish. The patriarch of the Wang family laughed out loud, revealing a ferocious killing intent. The aura on his body bloomed, locking onto Lu Ming, afraid that Lu Ming would escape. Last time in 9 Dragons, you managed to escape with your life. This time, I won't let you escape. Lu Ming smiled coldly. You're looking for death. The patriarch of the Wang clan shouted angrily. Previously, in 9 Dragons, Lu Ming had almost killed the master of the Wang family with the divine 9-dragon cauldron. The master of the Wang family had regarded this incident as taboo. Now, Lu Ming had brought it up again in front of everyone, and it had hit the master's sore spot. Boom! The patriarch of the Wang family exuded a cold killing intent. He stepped forward, and purple flames emanated from his body, completely annihilating the void. The temperature was rising rapidly, and some of the weaker cultivators immediately backed away. I will burn you to ashes. The master of the Wang family said coldly. He pushed his hands forward and a large purple fireball flew toward Lu Ming. The purple fireball's temperature was terrifyingly high. Wherever it flew, space would be annihilated, revealing black spatial passageways. In an instant, it flew in front of Lu Ming. Die! The patriarch of the Wang clan laughed sinisterly. But the next moment his smile froze. Lu Ming stretched out a hand and grabbed at the purple fireball. The purple fireball shrank rapidly and finally turned into a wisp of fire, burning and jumping in Lu Ming's palm. This is your flame? You even want to burn me to ashes. In my opinion, it's not even enough to cook rice. Lu Ming sneered. He then blew and the flame in his palm was extinguished. It was a slap in the face. You. The master of the Wang family's face was flushed red. He glared at Lu Ming and wanted to bite him to death. Die! The master of the Wang family bellowed, and the flames on his body burned even more vigorously. A ball of purple flames appeared above his head. Moving his body, he performed the blood fusion and turned into flames. The flames twisted and finally turned into a purple flame sword, slashing toward Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming did not even look. He threw a punch at the purple sword. A miserable shriek was heard as the purple sword collapsed. The figure of the Wang family's patriarch appeared. Blood was spurting out of his mouth. His face was filled with fear as he retreated frantically. As soon as the master of the Wang family retreated, screams immediately rang out. The path he took was the army, and he directly crashed into the army. At least 1,000 people were killed by him. Run! The others roared and began to flee in a frenzy. The battlefield of paragons was simply too dangerous. If you were too close, you wouldn't even know how you died. You're the one who's going to die today. Lu Ming stared at the Wang family master and strode forward. Save me, quickly save me. The patriarch of the Wang clan cried out in fear. At the side, the masters of the Jiang family, the Luan family, and the others were stunned. When Lu Ming injured the master of the Wang family with one punch, they were really stunned and found it hard to believe. Now that the master of the Wang family had called out, they came back to their senses. Attack and kill this person. Kill! The masters of the Jiang and the Luan families shouted and attacked together. The 5 supreme beings attacked at the same time. 5 different beams of light cut through the void and shot toward Lu Ming. Get lost! Lu Ming spat out the word coldly and threw 5 punches in a row. 5 fist forces broke through the air. Boom, 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 boom. The force of the punch easily dispersed the attacks of the 5 supreme beings, and the masters of the Jiang and the Luan families grunted as they were sent flying backward, blood spurting from their mouths. He casually threw out 5 punches and severely injured 5 supreme martial artists. This caused countless people who had retreated to the distance to gasp. As for the Wang clan's clan master, he was scared half to death. He was so stunned that he thought he was dreaming. How long had it been? Lu Ming had only made a trip to the Divine Ruins continent. How did he become so powerful the moment he returned? His combat strength completely crushed his. Was he still a member of the younger generation? Lu Ming continued to charge at the Wang family's master. The Wang family's master roared in fear and retreated desperately into the crowd, hoping that someone else would help him block Lu Ming. You guys, stop him. Hurry up. Damn it. How dare you run away? I'm the confidant of His Majesty, Martial Emperor. You're courting death. I'll kill you all in the future. The Wang family and the Wang family roared, but the rest were not fools. When they saw the family head of the Wang family approaching, they all fled. No one stopped Lu Ming for him. What a joke. He injured 5 supreme martial artists with a single punch. If they went up, wouldn't they be courting death? The patriarch of the Wang clan was almost in despair. Buzz! At this moment, a black saber radiance burst out high in the sky, cutting through the void and slashing toward Lu Ming. Its power was extremely terrifying. The emperor had made his move. Boom! A dragon's roar came from within Lu Ming's body. He threw a punch and it collided with the saber radiance. Lu Ming successfully blocked the saber radiance. Buzz! A figure appeared in front of Lu Ming. This person was an old man in a black robe. He was thin and his eyes were sunken like a skeleton. However, the aura that he exuded was extremely terrifying. This was an emperor. The 3rd Hell Emperor. Seeing this person, the Wang clan master was ecstatic and almost laughed out loud. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.